And we're starting. So, welcome everybody, of course, to our Pathfinder City of Harn session, the Tuesday group. As usual, looking as dapper as can be. For those of you who don't know what's going on, let me give you a last time on D&D. Last time on D&D, we, the party dealt with the sudden and inevitable betrayal of a certain pirate crew member who stole something from the Crow's Feather, a pirate ship that Estrella and Rallic used to belong to for a little while. Stole something, an idol, which turned out to be an idol of Valorian. Valorian is like the Hitler of this universe. So they got that back, and they gave it back to Nira, who's the pirate captain. And she is going to sell it and split profits with them a little bit. And that's kind of where we ended up, I believe. Am I missing anything particularly? Wolf became an elf last session, I believe. Or was that
Pig fell down a lot.
That was last session, because he didn't first session.
Yeah.
And then Pig fell down a lot.
True. And I believe that's sort of the recap. So
I didn't fall down a lot.
The rope.
We find ourselves. Sorry, I have an echo from somebody.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know where it's
heard
coming
that.
from.
Echo.
Sorry.
Testing.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have an echo anymore.
We're good.
All right. So we find ourselves, of course, in the Dragon's Teeth. Those of you who are there, anyway. After I would say about 5 or 6 days since you last, were together. Of course, let's do character introductions first, and then we'll get into the whole what did we do over the course of the period of time and so forth.
Yep.
So character introductions, we will go from left to right down the row. So we will start with Raven, then Cody, then Pig, then Phoenix, then Erica, then Pat. Introducing their characters. So Raven, tell us about Jean.
I play Jean, who is a barbarian of the Titan Mauler archetype. He loves big weapons and beautiful women. He found his love for big weapons when a pair of ogre brothers attacked his village, and unable to really defend themselves, he picked up one of the ogre's weapons after one of them was slain and managed to kill the other with it, and has just since loved big weapons and killing big things. He now works as a bodyguard and is following around Estrella and Stanting, because Estrella he finds very attractive, and Stanting is loaded. So,
Two very positive things, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, basically.
All right. So Cody, tell us about Rallic.
Well, I'm playing Rallic. He is a chaotic good half-elf fighter of the mobile fighter archetype. He has always been extremely restless, unable to sit still, really climby and stuff, always getting into things. When he was a teenager, he ran away from his home and started jumping between ships to see other parts of the world, because he wants to, map out best running routes and such, because that's mainly his goal. At one point, he accidentally stowed away on the Crow's Feather and had a little duel with Estrella, which ended in them earning each other's respect, so he didn't get brutally killed by the pirate crew, and he joined them and has been a running partner with Estrella since then.
Nice. Okay, so Rallic
Been on the track and field every day.
doing his thing.
Pig. Track and field.
Yeah, track and field, bro.
I'm
I
still
play-
hearing that echo. Sorry, whoever it is who's got like sound on their computer or something. I don't know what it is, but I can.
What?
Cody, talk again.
Hello.
Okay, well maybe I'm just
Okay.
crazy. All right, Pig,
I
go,
heard
go.
about Cody.
I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it too. Like
Go
I
Pig.
did.
Maybe you are crazy.
Go, Pig, go.
I'm playing the most prestigious TR Stanting, a big game hunter gunslinger who is from the 7th tier, from a long lineage of family traders and big game hunters to explore the world and seek out the greatest riches and mount things on his wall.
Hell yeah. All right. And Phoenix.
All right, my guy is Wolf. He is a elf, level 2. He before was playing when he was younger. Was playing on top of a statue of a god he cannot remember, and then he heard a crack, snackle, pop, and the statue kind of broke it. And because it broke it, a god went and said, "Oh, you're gonna be a wolf for the next couple of years," and turned into a wolf. Has been a wolf ever since. Hung out with TR Stanting for about a year. Finally got out of wolf form, and now everybody's finding out he's a crazy motherfucker. Yeah. Other than that, he's having a fun time.
Hell
And he's
yeah.
figuring out how to play the violin.
Cool.
Oh, right, yeah.
And Erica, tell us about Estrella.
I play Estrella, a half-elf rogue of the Roof Runner and Scout archetypes, also known as the little sister to Stanting. She is formerly part of a group of perfectly legal privateers, and if you hear that phrase, we mean pirates. Not if you hear perfectly
Perfectly
legal,
legal.
you mean it's completely illegal. So, for clarification, her family worked for Stantings, and she occupied her time by climbing and jumping all over the house. Stanting occasionally chased her with a toy gun, hunting savages. She ended up heading out
Bloody
into the big wide
savages.
world. Oh yeah, into the big wide world at adulthood. I hear echo.
I got it.
I don't know who's.
I don't know, actually.
I muted everybody.
Must be mine, but I
everybody-
don't know what it's causing it then.
Hmm.
Hold on.
Muscle man!
Gone.
Let's see, is there echo now?
I don't hear anything.
Hello?
No, I don't hear anything.
All right. Well,
Nope.
as soon as she reached adulthood, she went into the big wide world and ended up joining said crew of perfectly legal privateers for about 6 years. It was there where she met Ralek, and in an incident which involved stowaways and a duel, which he mentioned, they decided to pair up, become like running career partners, and then hopped off the ship in the first session to revisit Estrella's home city.
Hell yeah. Okay. And Pat, you're up with Cadius.
Yes, sir. Cadius is a, I guess you could say, level 1 cleric, level 1 sorcerer. He was abandoned as a child in the lower slums of the city, and was raised by a family of goblins. As such, he does not think kindly of slavery. He doesn't like it, obviously, because he's lived with it his entire life, and he's been in this city. The higher tiers mean better living opportunities, so he's always been looking up in his life. And one day he saw the sun through tiny cracks in the ceiling, and he was like, "Oh, that's a beautiful sight! Isn't that amazing? I want to go there. That's what I'm gonna pray to." So he's a cleric of Saren Ray now. And once he turned the age of 17, he's been trying to look for his parents, and recently figured out that they're kind of in one of the highest tiers of the city, and probably abandoned him due to greedy ass reasons. But even more so, he's looking to kind of thwart out this group of Phalorian followers. Now that he's found a couple of them, he's getting a little upset about it. These fake Saren Ray followers. Anyways, that's Cadius.
Hell yeah. All right. And I believe that rounds up the characters because Pig's in a different spot now, but he's already done his. So,
The man
gets
with
to
the
go
marvelous
again.
mustache.
let's see. So I of course am Distracted Elf. I am the GM or DM, whatever you prefer, of the campaign. I control the whim and fate and destiny of everybody involved, and I write the story and I write the setting.
Dexter's,
What?
quote that Dexter's Lab.
Yeah. So, yeah. For those of you who don't know our setting is the city of Harn. Now, this world, the world in which these characters live, is a vast and desolate desert wasteland. Phoenix, shut up. It's a vast and desolate desert wasteland, and it's is inhabited by these big moving sort of steampunk magitech cities that roll around on huge ass tank treads. There are 6 of these cities, and Harn is one of them. Your social status is determined by the tier you live on. The lower the tier, the lower your social status. The higher, closer to the sky, the more awesome you are and rich and powerful and all that shit. So that is a crash course in Harn. These guys are currently sort of living out of well, some of them are living out of an inn on the 57th, I believe. And
I'm gonna write it down.
and
Yes.
Stanting, of course, has a manor on the 7th tier.
Tier 7 represent?
There you
Yeah.
go. And of course, I believe Wolf is living off of a pirate ship. So,
Well, he can't get to tier 7, so he has to.
yeah. Well, no, Wolf has already been in tier 7 for a really long time. But yeah, I mean, not
As a wolf.
Not currently.
As a wolf, yeah.
Not currently.
I can go. As Wolf, he doesn't need the papers, but as Wolf, he can't get up there.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so you guys, this is about 5 or 6 days after you handed over the idol to Nira. She said, of course, that she was going to sell it and get back to you, and split the money with you, so to speak. So I just want to know what you guys have been up to during that time, the time that you've had to sort of I don't know, dick around during the 5 or 6 days. What your character has been doing. So Raven, you of course can start. Well, once again, I'll try and like involve everybody, and we'll sort of like move through. So
I've been either following Estrella around, bodyguard stuff.
Of
if there's nothing
course.
else to do, or
Guard
if,
that body.
or if somebody actually walks into the inn that looks like they need a job done, then I might, depending on the person, work for them. But otherwise, just sticking by Estrella.
Depending on the person. The one, the one with the big,
A big assets.
The money.
the,
Yeah.
the one
Money
who
makers.
the one who's really smart.
The lady with the big hands.
Anyway,
Big hands.
okay, so Jean's just been basically being a
Jean.
chauvinist asshole. So that's good. All right,
I'm
so
getting
that's,
paid for
Is
it.
that's been 5 or 6 days of just
Is it good?
walking around behind people, and defending them from the various problematic things in the tier here, the 57th, which is sort of your dock tier. So there's a lot of comings and goings, and there's a lot of potential in bodyguard work, and you've probably
Mostly
punched
goings.
several people
Woohoo!
during that time.
Even hit them.
So Cody, what's Ralph been up to?
I
Well-
even hit them.
Relic being courier partner with Estrella probably would have been running things if he could, but he also would have been looking for a chance to like do the battle dancing thing, so they could earn a little bit of money in between
Yep.
time and waiting for the money from the idol being sold.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think was Estrella going to try and visit her parents? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
at some point, but she wouldn't
Yeah.
be there the entire
Yeah.
time period. So
Yeah, I mean it's like just short of a week,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I mean,
plenty of time.
He
Did
might
Sean
have tried to
finish
go
it?
with if he could. He would have, but he doesn't really care. He would have continued mapping out the 57th tier, or moving up to the 56th if he finished with that.
Cool. Okay. How about Wolf? What has Wolf been up to?
All right.
Phoenix.
So Wolf has been staying on the pirate ship and trying to learn how to play the violin. But as he's been learning to play the violin, he's had some time to think while he's trying to. And he's
Okay.
been thinking, the statue that he was playing on was indeed a god. He just doesn't remember which one. And he's been thinking, can I kill a god? So
Can
the
I kill
first thing that Wolf is going to be trying to do
Have
while
stats.
playing the violin is figuring out what god was the one that changed him into a wolf. So he's been trying to do that.
I see. Okay, so he's been contemplating his change, and just generally doing things on the pirate ship.
Pretty much.
Being directed to lift heavy boxes and run errands whenever necessary, because you don't just get to stay there for free.
No. I've also been doing chores. I thought that part was, already like
Swabbing the deck,
entailed.
and so forth.
Which he likes because he likes laying on the floor.
Swap the deck. You just put it under you and just roll.
Just roll.
you just okay.
All right. How about Estrella?
Well, she's gonna spend a day or two just going out visiting her family. I am home after 6 years. Sort
I
of
have
thing.
returned.
Exactly.
The prodigal
You're the-
daughter
You're
returned.
the disappointed
Prodigal
child.
daughter, pirates. She's not gonna mention the pirates part.
No.
They're perfectly legal. So
Yeah,
afterwards,
perfectly That's what
exactly,
she found.
she's gonna head with Rallick, do a couple of actually legal courier jobs to kind of lay low after the whole idol thing, and then we'll do some orchestrated duels where they can for gold.
Cool. You're doing like a Road to El Dorado
Sort of thing,
style.
yeah.
But without the cheating.
You
Which-
But without,
my
yeah,
sister.
without, yeah.
Which we have roles for, yay.
I fought your sister. That's a compliment.
Except 10 times the amount of mandolin.
I want to watch that movie again.
I need a mandolin for Rallick. That's all I'm saying.
You
yeah.
gave me loaded dice.
Dice?
Oh, it's a
Arrest
rest.
this man.
I will give you the honor of a short and painless death. Not a death.
Yeah. Oh
Anyway.
god.
Anyway, sorry, I sidetracked there. All right, so
Yeah.
you guys are doing like your you're performing
not
thing.
the
For sure.
god.
You know, a little bit
Lovely.
of there.
And yeah, you can draw a bit of a crowd, but I mean, these are rowdy people. When you show up sort of like show fighting. The next guy in line's like, "I'll take you on." You know what I mean? It's sort of like,
I
like-
mean,
These two are fighting. He punches the guy beside him.
Yeah, this get me all wild up. Bam!
right, and then while they're fighting,
start
we
a
take
couple
money
of
that they
like
drop.
real bar fights.
Unintentionally.
Yeah,
Do a-
yeah.
Rooftop fights,
Yeah.
Jean is probably the guy
Yeah,
who
it's
starts
like,
fighting
know-
people. He's like, ugh!
And then while they're all
The
fighting
guards
and they're
are
losing
always
their
like,
money-
the guards are always like, "Oh, you bitches again, causing disturbances. Get out of here."
we're just street performers. It's not our fault.
Yeah, this fight is so realistic. I can almost punch people.
You have a license for this, anyway. So Pat,
Technically,
you're
he does.
you're
Yeah,
what's-
Cadius would have probably gone back to his goblin family and hung out with them for a little while.
hell yeah,
Hell yeah.
goblin family.
He loves his goblin family. And then he probably would have started asking around in like taverns and bars about the Phalorian followers. Obviously not too outright, just like, oh hey, I'm a follower of Sir Enray, like kind of sneak it in there if they're like, oh
I've
yeah,
been
Sir
hearing-
Enray.
I've been hearing a couple of things about.
Yeah, then maybe, whatever.
For academic purposes, of course.
For academic purposes, I hear
Yes.
that you're a fucking follower of Phalorian Raw!
I hear you're a Nazi.
So yeah, Pat's basically
Essentially.
going around saying, "Heard about any Nazi gatherings recently?"
Obviously
This is-
not like that. I'm just like, I'm a follower of Sarah and Ray.
I'm looking to get in on some
Hey, yeah.
Nazi gatherings.
You know where the Nazis hang out?
Anyway, that's cool.
But
I
you
like
know what
that.
I mean.
How about you, Pig?
The tulips look particularly nice.
You're tuliping.
Yeah, it's fucking
And,
tulip.
and I've planted my
Tul-
roses. Gotta get to my gardening.
Love standing.
What was the name of that courier?
What was his name?
I don't
Franklin.
think it mattered.
Yeah, like
Alfred.
I think it
Manfred.
was
Jacob.
Franklin. Yes,
Frank doesn't
Franklin.
matter. He makes
Was
a
his
new
name
name every time.
Franklin, the courier of Harn.
Gregory. Anyway, so you
I
guys
to
have
give
been
him some tulips.
you guys been doing your thing, but you've also been keeping tabs on each other. As a sort of group now, you have like this shared want to get paid, of course, for the idle work. So you're
Yeah.
still waiting for that, and you all receive sort of a message from Nira for you to kind of like come and meet so she can pay you in person rather than sending the money with anybody else because of the recent betrayals. She's not particularly feeling the whole giving valuables to other people thing. So you receive a message, each of you, for wherever you are. If you're here in the 57th, of course, there's a message waiting for you at the Dragon's Teeth. Or, if you're off on another tier, she's got her tendrils. She can definitely find you and
Oh, yeah.
get the
Fair
message
enough.
to you.
Tendrils.
She can't find me. I'm on her ship.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you're really easy. She's just like, she just finished telling you to hurry back from whatever crap she sent you to do 2 seconds ago. Anyway, so you guys gather. I'm assuming. I don't. You.
Yeah, I would.
Sure.
Well.
Standing like,
Sure.
I mean, at least I'll get paid, right?
You can pick up some daisies on the way.
She owes me for all of this.
So we'll go to the crow's
I do.
feather. We'll go to the crow's feather.
Don't worry,
the
she
way-
doesn't kill guards.
Next time I'll shoot you myself.
Wolf is at the moment trying to play the violin. It's not bad, but it's not good.
He's got like a shitty violin.
Trying to
Well,
play
I already
it
plan
as a
on. I already
guitar
plan
first.
on with the money we're gonna be getting to go buy a good violin.
Indeed.
There's actually no strings on the violin.
So you guys arrive. You guys arrive at the docks, and Nira's on deck. You know, conversing with the bard, the tiefling bard girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're just chatting about something. You don't know what it is. They're just small talk as you're approaching. And as she sees you coming down the dock, she turns to you and says, "Excuse me." Says, "Oh, okay. Well, perfect. You're all here at the same time. I won't have to do this speech more than once. The idol is sold. Thank God we are rid of it. That thing attracts nutcases like you wouldn't believe."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess it takes one to follow one.
no doubt. But now that it's gone and it fetched a nice price, the good thing about nutcases, as I say, is that they tend to pay well over the worth of a hunk of metal. So she has a couple of, like, she digs in a pouch on her belt and she pulls out like several separate sort of little bundles with gold coins inside, obviously. Or it may be some other kind of coin, you can't really tell, of course, because it's like a bundle. And like hands them out to you guys each. And she says, all sold, the thing, like I said, went pretty well. I'll hand you each one of these. And there are 6 of you. Yeah. There's 6 of you, so divided by 6, of course. I'm assuming that not one of you holds the whole group's money. So I'll pay you each individually, I suppose. And it came out to about 1,200 gold each.
Ooh, I could buy a nice violin with that.
Wait, each?
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy
crap.
shit.
Wow.
They pay well.
That is some idol.
What the hell?
I think I'm gonna be staying with this.
It may have
ship
been
for
more
a while.
important than you realized.
I'm
I was just
thinking.
like-
I'm thinking it may have been. Well,
It's like-
I mean, it was like a solid gold idol with. Yeah, I mean.
I mean, it looked valuable, but
So I'd like to buy masterwork of everything.
Well, let's see.
I already have
Permanent
on
zone
me.
of truth. I mean, maybe.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna steal this from you later.
Okay.
I
Not
was
if I
just thinking to buy something. So
That sounds like Wolf's luck.
You can't steal it if I've already spent it.
exactly.
What if I steal it right now?
now?
Turns
So-
out one of the other pirates just pickpockets you like while this is going on.
I want 10 feet off the dock. Gone.
I mean, if he wants his hand cut off.
Out of curiosity, because all the races are in like this one area, are there large creatures that forge weapons that are large for large creatures?
That are large.
I'm sure you could find somebody to forge you a weapon. I mean,
That was large
you know,
for large creatures.
if you wanted to.
That was made for large creatures that are large.
Dude, that weapon. So
No.
large.
It's
Oh,
so
I don't know.
large.
For it.
So she hands off the money and says, of course, oh, and I wonder if there might be some more business we might attend to. If
this
you're
stays
interested
like
in,
this,
if you're interested in more pay, I suppose.
Well, but of course, I've spent long enough on this ship. You know I wouldn't want to completely cut ties with anyone here.
Well,
Unless they
let's
pull a Felix.
see. She seems to think a moment and then says, "I do have a an invitation. A person as influential, you know, as I am with several of the merchants around here, gets their hands on one or more of these things. It's to a party, actually.
Oh,
I of
like
course,
parties.
myself will be attending. and I think that perhaps you could help me with something. There.
Whoever is eating right now is
Pig.
like a lot of...
Big.
It's
Just like,
microphone
that works.
is very eating.
Put it away.
It was so good.
She says, I've heard that up on the highest tier there are several well-kept gardens. That if we can, and these are not just gardens of the mundane variety. It's like very pretty, but pretty valuable, but not very, preservable or lucrative if you're transporting these sort of things. These are tended with magic. And I know that the manor of Luther, hang on, I have his name. Just make sure that you guys remember this if you can.
Yep, I'm gonna write this down.
Luther Ademus. He is the current minister of taxation and slave imports. For Harn. He is currently planning a event of some kind, social event of some kind, and his garden is particularly well stocked. There are a few seeds, Ademus like this. Ademus like that.
Okay.
Particularly well stocked. There are a few seeds that if we can get our hands on pouch or two of them from the gardener, or just steal them, we could certainly stand to make a pretty penny, as well as it would be sustainable in that if we used them to plant our own, we could then start... Well, you see where I'm going.
Yeah, yes, I do. Don't worry. I understand where you're going with this. So there's no he doesn't have any security with the garden. He doesn't. How much is the protection around it, if you know?
Oh, it'll be substantial. I know for a fact that the gardener himself, of course, tended with magic as these plants are, is quite significantly powerful, but I believe he is currently property, I suppose, of the minister.
Okay.
Though there will, of course, be guards, as the party itself it has several high-profile guests and various of that sort, and you wouldn't be able to just wander in here without an event of this kind happening. So it's sort of a double-edged sword in that it's a distraction and it's also a draw for more security.
Okay.
And we get in how?
I have an invitation.
Invitations.
I have an invitation, and then I have several invitations.
You're telling
I was about to
us-
say, is this invitation plus one?
Plus 6. Yeah, I graciously accept.
No,
no,
my dear wolf. This is an invitation for me, and then several created for you.
Oh, yippee! I get to go to a party.
You're telling me that I didn't get an invitation despite me being the gardener?
You're
A
not-
garden
you're-
party?
You're not the
Garden.
Did you check your mail standing?
I did not.
I was actually gonna use you as the lead-in for this before, but whatever.
I didn't check my
You
mail
can say
today.
you got a legit. I don't care if you want to have a legit invitation.
He's gotta be legit though. He just sees like forged documents and stuff.
How we get into the party is not
He's
as
too
important.
prideful for that.
What
It
we
totally
doing?
doesn't matter. If you want to have a legit invitation, you're welcome to do so.
He probably has
I
a
will do
legitimately
so.
acquired invitation.
I love the use of that word.
As opposed to a perfectly legal invitation.
Yeah.
He's the only legitimate person in the party.
Miss Pirate, you
Here.
want us to go to a party that we're not invited to take some seeds that are being magically grown, in the hopes that we give them to you and not somebody else? But
Or else
wait,
we'll-
sorry, that was misspoke.
I'm pretty sure that came out wrong,
In-
Cadius.
She smiles at that. Yeah, like, oh, really? A
In
mercantile one, are you?
in the hopes, no, I apologize, I misspoke. In the hopes that we don't get caught, we get away with our lives. Let's just say here, these are heavily guarded for some reason because they're magical plants. I don't know.
I'm not sure of the exact properties either, though.
All right. And so, what is this gonna pay as well as what we just got? Because that's quite a sum. That's amazing.
So she didn't say exactly which plants we're looking for.
No. This is most
I mean,
of,
we could
well,
go steal
this
a
is-
package
this is-
of like
okay.
fucking like dandelion.
This is
seeds.
like, look, this is like mostly what you would think of as like hearsay. You know, like this guy has some like really valuable plant that is like super rare or whatever, and can only be grown through the way that he's doing it, and so forth. So
Does the
it's
standing
more,
have profession gardener?
it's more just something that would sell
he
well.
does
It's
have
just like a
profession gardener.
valuable item.
He might know.
Standing as profession gardener.
So she nods to Cadius and says, "Well, the dividends that it would pay would more than cover the amount that I would pay you. Let's put it that way. So if you can acquire them for me, I know who to sell them to."
Yeah, it's a long-term
When's this party?
investment
Is it
if you're growing it
tonight?
yourself, but
When's
Pirate
this
party
party?
tonight,
3 days
or-
from now.
3 days from now? Alright. Because I'm pretty sure I saw a spell I can get that lets me identify plants
Cool.
and seeds. So, I can check if they're the real thing once we get them.
but only once.
Only once.
Yeah.
But it's a
Are
little
these
useful.
the right plants? Level 1 spell go?
No. Crap.
Now, just
Damn
to
it.
Nira smiles and says, "Now, just to put it in perspective, of course, this is a high-profile event. Do not come to it looking like a bunch of scraggly ruffians. You will be rejected at the door, even if you have an invitation. Please
I have a top hat.
dress appropriately."
I will assist them in that, as I'm sure Stanting and I
Standing
have
kind of
access
has
to
like a look.
Estrella especially can remember times when Nira's done this sort of thing before, and she certainly dresses appropriately.
Standing's kind of like looking at this chick as if
Estrella,
like,
no.
bitch, do you not see what I'm wearing right now?
She's not looking at you. She's looking at fucking Jean and like Rallic and Wolf.
Oh, I thought she was looking at the group as a whole. Like,
No,
I know,
no,
man.
no. It's
Right,
just
right.
like look at this guy. He's wearing like fucking leather armor. Don't show up wearing that shit.
They might
like
look
my,
down
like,
at
my
me
shit's
and be like,
all like polished and like nicely shined and like.
look at this guy. He's
Alex
just like
just
seventh
shrugs,
tier.
you know. He's not really one for class. He's used to dressing in useful things.
well, you better get used to it pretty quickly.
At least
Hey,
pretend
these
you're
guys.
used to class for this night, and you may want to come up with some story as to exactly who you are or what you're doing there, unless you're, of course, one of our high-profile associates, like a fellow with a mustache over there.
Pretend to be class like school.
Well, I wouldn't need to lie to get in, so that's a bonus for me.
Ooh, I've got some wonderful idea. The
yeah.
idiot that just asked
Nira-
if class
Nira-
was school, you're mute.
Near's like, this is the expression right here. This.
I'd apologize on behalf of them, but I don't want to take responsibility for any of that.
She looks to Estrella and goes, "Fix this," and sort of like leaves it at that. Like,
I roll my eyes. Like,
make
oh,
sure
God.
that if you're wanting to be involved in this, that you stay at the Dragon's Teeth, somewhere nearby where I can get my invitations to you. Wolf, of course, if you wish to stay here, you're welcome to do so. And the
Plays the
rest
violin.
of you, and the rest of you, of course, buy whatever it is that you might need with that money that you've just been paid. And it should be more than sufficient for anything that you think you may particularly need. I wouldn't expect to be going into this guns blazing, so to speak. In fact, I wouldn't be expecting to be allowed to carry weapons at all. So,
That's alright. I have these. Fire.
Yeah, we have, I guess, him, but
This is the
That's
part
not
where I
it.
take body.
I kind of
bludgeoning
just
and
like
start
juggle
using-
the fireball in my hands.
while you're juggling, Nira just like reaches an arm out like rattlesnake quick grabs your arm and like twists it sideways because you're juggling a ball of fire on her deck.
On a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make him drop it
If you
on
read
her
the
ship?
notes on the Pathfinder SRD, it says this spell can set ships on fire.
Yeah. She just grabs your arm and like twists it and goes, "Don't do that," and then lets you go.
Drops in the ship, just catches wind.
Wolf just kind of smiles and goes, "Okay."
So, 3 days, I'll come and meet you. I and Jenna will come and meet you.
Oh,
And we
okay.
will accompany you upstairs. And when I say upstairs, I mean 3rd tier upstairs. Dress appropriately,
Ooh.
come up with the correct story for why you're invited.
I wrote
Some of the big boys now.
She basically says that, and then, you know, basically if you have any more questions, she will answer them, but that's basically the end of her, you know, speech about it.
All right.
Wolf walks
I
up
look
to
to
like the
them.
demon chick and goes, "Why am I invited?"
On second thought, good point. You're staying here.
Only if you stay here, John.
Jenna, who spent like the last 5 or 6 days dealing with Wolf, and so has some kind of like idea as to exactly how his brain works, seems to think for a moment, her tail, her like red spaded tail, like flicking back and forth behind her in that sort of like idle, you know, thinking motion. She says, what about simple friend of somebody else who's invited? I wouldn't really trust you to bluff anything, so maybe...
I like that. Wolf goes over to Stanting. "Hello, my friend."
Stanning is obviously not paying attention. He's kind of like mumbling to himself. He's like, you know, poinsettias, poppies. He's like naming off like random.
He's
like,
trying to think of what flowers they
like-
are.
Yeah.
Wolf's gonna go in front of Stanting's face and do this along with him, and copy
Alright.
the words.
Just,
it says.
you have no facial hair. You're just like.
I'm just going like this.
I'm gonna shake my head at
Rallic was doing the
those
same.
two.
Yeah.
And
So, Estrella, you got any ideas for costume?
a costume. That's what you're gonna call it.
What else would I call it? A suit? I hate
Gonna
those.
Well, frankly, I'm offended.
Have you
Look
ever
down
worn a suit?
sadly at my great swords. I can't bring you with me.
I've worn a great deal of things. Now I'll help you out there. Not to worry.
Straight. Now I'm just imagining like an 80s, you know, like the 80s like situations where it's like in the store, goes into the dressing room, comes out, Estrella's like,
Yeah, yes, one of those. We need just that
Definitely
that
one of those.
montage.
eh.
Dress up montage.
But I look to Nira and Jenna. Jenna?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah, it's like with a
And-
G, but Jenna.
Yeah, okay, thought so. And I say, well, I look forward to seeing you both there. I'm ready to go. If these people are finished, then they're free to follow. And I
Don't
smile.
spend all that gold in one place. She says like dismissal phrase.
You know me, I make no guarantees.
Unfortunately,
Actually,
I do know.
do you-
I'll try to hold on.
Do you
People,
know,
yeah.
Room.
do you know if any high-ranking priests would be there, or if being in priestly garb would be all right for this occasion? You know, ceremonial wear. Probably not. It's just a
Well,
a question.
if you think you can back it up, if you think you can explain it, should situation arise that you need to, feel free to do so.
might be dangerous. I just kind of walk away.
Are we going shopping?
If you want, Wolf.
We kind of need to anyway.
Wolf.
I'm surprised you even have clothes.
God, okay.
Oh my
I
good sir,
leave.
I'm not
Okay.
a barbarian.
Yeah.
Hey,
Copy Stanting and saying that.
So you guys are free to, of course, leave now. And those two, you know, go back to what they were doing, talking to each other, getting ready, presumably on their own. They need to find another document forger, of course, because Felix was the guy who was doing all the forgeries, and now he has a hole in his throat.
And back.
And back.
And shoulder.
And it's just generally the rest of
That's right. I still his leather armor.
So yeah,
Generally dead.
I cut his back open.
he's kind of generally dead. So you guys basically have this time, these three days where you can do what you want with sort of the money that you've acquired, or you can roleplay amongst yourselves for certain situations that you want to actually like address, or that you think would be good scenes during these 3 days.
Okay.
But like the next thing that I have for you is like when stuff happens. So.
Okay, well, I need to sit everyone down, except for
Question
Stanting, and be like,
Everybody's
what
in
are you gonna do?
everybody's
Don't mess this
for-
up.
Everybody's
Before
like
Rowlett-
gathered around in
before,
the dragon's teeth. Like
Yeah.
Before Stanting goes back, he's gonna ask Stanting if he has an extra suit or something that Rowlett could wear, so he doesn't have to buy one.
Question, Elf.
Yeah, what's up?
The spell I was referring to is
May I
detect
use it?
animals or plants. Would you count seeds under that? Because they're not technically plants yet. They're still
Well,
seeds.
they are, but
I mean, I sort of would if you want,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it doesn't
I
really
would
make
call
too much of a
plants.
difference to me. And if, from what you're trying to do with it, like that's fine. I don't. It's cool.
All right. Just making sure.
So, you know, Stanting wouldn't have any extra clothes for you because almost everything he wears is like tailored for him.
And he
He's
hates
kind
you.
of rich.
Next
And he
thing
hates
you know, Elf, Phoenix is just gonna be like, "Are there seeds under this platform?" And you'll be like, fuck you, Phoenix. You can't make them grow.
Seeds.
Fuck your seeds."
So I guess
What
now
kind
we
of
have
seeds
our,
are these? I
our
use
clothing
create
store
armor.
montage.
But
yeah, I mean, like,
Okay, so
All
how
right,
much would
well,
you say?
Wolf is gonna go and try and find a suit, dapper thing, because he's been with Stanton, so he knows what he's supposed to look for.
Indeed.
Okay, during these 3 days, first thing, how much would you say we should spend on clothing to look the part?
Well, you're looking like creme de la creme society that's gonna be in attendance.
Yeah, this is
So,
tier 1.
This is tier. Well, the party's on tier 3, but you're looking at
Oh.
tier 1 attendance. Yeah.
Okay.
So you know, make your own assessments of that. But I think Estrella was trying to do something just a little bit there. Like Estrella sits everybody down and asks like what they're gonna do.
Yeah. We need to prepare. I'm not letting you guys improvise any more than we have to.
If I go as your bodyguard, I don't have to improvise and I can bring my swords.
they
No.
won't let you inside with them.
No? Oh.
Not even as a
No.
bodyguard. You'd have to be like registered
No.
security with the party.
You're a strong man. You can punch things with your hands.
But I love these things.
We'll leave them in a safe place, but this is supposed to be an in and out job.
Fine.
More like an inn, have some hors d'oeuvres and just enjoy yourself.
Well, yeah, in mingle, you know,
Well, I have-
some and or all of the free things, and then get out.
Indeed.
I
And
have
then
out of town
during-
papers. I could play a family friend of yours or Stantings.
Yeah, Pig
And then-
makes a good point here. In a sense, these people on the 3rd tier make Stanting in his best dress look like a homeless people in New York.
That's what I was trying to say. Somebody's gonna be like, look, that guy's dressed like somebody from the 7th tier. Oh, God.
Yeah, I was gonna like.
These are the guys who wear like
those
the
make
really
better.
nice stuff.
Yeah.
They have diamond encrusted teeth.
I just feel like
Thrills!
I feel like tiers 1 through 10 are like the fancy ones, but like 5 and up are the really fancy ones.
Yeah,
Like the
well,
extremely
5 and
high
up are
class.
like the I rule the world type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
Like-
7 is good, but it's like, it's not super fancy
Like,
yet.
if you're thinking of it like corporate America, the difference between the top 1% and the top 2% is like billions of dollars.
Yeah, but like third tier isn't.
Well,
Tier
The
1
guy
is
the guy hosting the party is the Minister for Taxation and Slave Imports.
Yeah, that guy's rich. He's rich.
That's probably all of like the awesome people.
Yeah, their grills have grills.
So Wolf goes next to Estrella and goes,
Taxation.
"What are we gonna do then?"
Okay, we need to think up stories for all of you. Perhaps connect all of us in a group or go separately. I don't care, as long as you have something believable that won't get any of us killed.
I'm gonna
Can I
just
be
suddenly...
somebody's +1? Oh, that's 2. +1?
Well, we each have an invitation. I don't think...
By the way, guys, if you do have a story, sort of like behind why you're there, initially, then I will give you plus bonuses to bluff checks related to that stuff.
I figure
I ain't got shit. That's why I'm trying to find a +1.
I figure Estrella dresses the part, so she knows the tier and can dress like this. So I'm gonna jump up, run over, and lock arms, and be like, "I am your date."
Sure.
Easy
don't
to
care.
remember.
Easy to remember.
Relic is gonna
Wolf
roll his eyes
jumps
at that,
up,
just like
puts
kind
his
of
arm in a
laughing.
Jean's arm, and goes, "I am your date."
Whoa,
Relic.
what?
Huh?
Brother.
I'm laughing.
Brother?
Calm down,
Look this-
brother.
Gonna
You've
try
been
to shake.
bro-zoned.
I'm gonna try to shake off
Don't
Wolf.
date Ralic's brother.
You've been bro-zoned.
I would, but
I mean, the eye color is a bit of iffy, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same color. It's
Little
similar.
blue.
A little bit blue, but
We'll
we'll
work
figure it
out.
out.
I'm not kidding. Wolf should be
Okay,
somebody's
Knuckles,
plus
okay.
1 because he's probably gonna think of the worst story that'll get him figured out.
Yeah.
Just
really?
saying, in character, I should probably be somebody's +1.
Go with Stanton. He'll figure it out with you.
You were Stanting's dog for however.
And then you were standing slave when explained to that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
The
you could
elevator.
even explain it like that, even though people wouldn't believe you. Like,
I mean, if you make the
This
story
is my
complicated
gardener.
enough,
This is my gardener, the druid.
Makes
make-
sense.
This is
make
why
the-
I have such nice flowers.
Have to get him a really nice slave collar.
make this story wild
The
enough.
gardener
A,
have to be
a
a slave?
mithril slave collar.
From what you've heard, the gardener
Their
for the
gardeners.
minister is like property, so he's definitely some sort of
Yeah,
slave.
but would all gardeners have to be?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it might look good to bring a slave to a party where it's being run by the minister of slavery. And
I
whatnot.
think
Fair
that
point.
that might not be such a good idea because he might say, "Hey, that's not one of the slaves that I have definitely listed on this paper here that I know all the
It's
slaves
okay.
in the
It's
prom-
okay.
fair
He's
point,
got one of
freaking
those like
world."
shock bark collars that dogs wear.
You
Or
are
not
fine with it.
reacting
why
out
would
of
a slave
line.
get invited to a party?
Yeah.
I mean, brought along as a +1 or brought along as something we could stretch, but not a slave with an invitation.
Well, you could just disregard Wolf's invitation if that's
Yeah,
what you wanted
yeah.
to do. You could.
That's what I was saying. Just
you could,
disregard my
you-
invitation.
You could bring him
Plus
along
1.
and just be like, "This is like it's like bringing a coat." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that level.
He just carries your stuff around.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a garden party and he's a fucking druid. Okay.
Fair enough.
He's a
Very
nature dude.
Fair enough.
It
All
doesn't
right.
need to say anything else.
Cadius, what's your plan?
I am not sure.
By the way, Cadius, how much research have you done on your parents recently?
Not enough.
Not enough, that's for sure.
Okay.
I did that little bit of research while figuring out which tier they were on and possibly
and,
which tier they were on.
and you heard
from last time.
potentially high, right? Was
Yes,
the
potentially
answer.
very high.
And you're gonna be going pretty high today.
Yes, I am.
Just saying.
I still don't know what they look like or their first names, but I need to figure out. a
I'm
plan.
guessing that your last name is not the actual last name of your family, right?
No, well, probably not.
Okay.
My first name is my actual given first name.
Cool.
Oh, I was supposed to have a goblin first name, eh? Fuck.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
no problem.
Okay, so you guys are all getting ready to head up to the upper tiers, or you're waiting for, of course, you're waiting for Nira and Jenna.
Yeah.
But
I get their clothes ready, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
How much-
you just
how much
like
do clothes cost?
meticulously analyze everybody's outfit, like as they show up with whatever they've bought. Estrella's like, no, or
Yeah,
"Yeah,
exactly.
yes, but wear the gold necklace, or like, various.
That's exactly how I'm picturing it
stuff
right
like
now.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So of course you guys, if you want me to sort of narrate for you, you feel free to narrate your own sort of shopping experience, but I can narrate just the group in general if you prefer. I don't know. What do you want? You want me to?
I'm fine with the narration.
All right, I'll just
Yeah,
I'll
go
just
for
go
it.
like group wise. So you guys, like each of you individually, of course, goes out and does your stuff, or as a group, I don't really care what you're doing. But you come back with all sorts of fancy Dan sort of garb, light sort of robes and bright colors and that sort of stuff. That you would expect from the high tier, and sort of gold and silver and stuff.
All that fancy shit.
You've
Yeah.
probably spent I don't know. I'm gonna say like maybe 200 gold, so like 1,000. Like take it back down to 1,000 for each of you. So you spend
Alright.
like 200 gold on
Money?
just like stuff to get ready for this.
Would that apply to me?
Yes.
What?
If I can, I'll just supplement stuff from my own wardrobe. But if not, then
Well,
yeah.
as you said, Pig, you know, your
that's
your
true.
best
Okay.
dress.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right,
So
there you go.
you guys, you guys spend
love
about
fancy
While we're
muscles
looking for
also.
that, I will have been looking for a ring of prestidigitation because I love that spell.
You've been looking for a ring of prestidigitation?
Yes, I don't expect to find one easily, just like because magic is rare, but
Sure,
It's a
and
lower
I mean,
spell,
you,
so-
you know you can find one. If you're looking for a ring of prestidigitation, you could probably find one for around 600 gold, something like that.
perfect.
I'm assuming you're actually buying it, or
Yes, I am buying that.
All right.
I do need
How many
one.
uses per day?
Prestidigitation's 0 level.
Yeah, but
So I was looking for it.
It still has a cost
it
to
had-
how many per day.
It has uses. Okay.
it,
I was
it's
looking
not
for
it's
permanent
not
things.
infinite if you're not a caster kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Okay, that's fine. But if that's the case, that's fine. But like, as I was looking through it for finding things like that, it's a 0th level spell, so it's just like casting a cantrip using a ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're not a caster, so there will be a limitation on.
Okay.
Because
That's
you're
still fine.
activating an effect of a
A
magic
limitation could be like 50.
Item. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
Uh,
fine.
okay.
Like, all I was
But
looking for was
it's like,
prestidigitation
Phoenix,
when I needed.
Phoenix, I'm
so I
getting that microphone buzz off of you again, buddy. I don't know how.
your refrigerator's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are getting set up and getting dressed and so forth in preparation for that Nira and will be showing up fairly soon. I like the little stuff we've got going on in the chat there. That was very cool. Sort of Jean being useless. It's less, just to describe a little bit, it's less sort of like your sort of like tux sort of look, and more your sort of like think rich Arabian. You know what I mean? Sort of like robe style sort of stuff, more than like suited. Except for maybe Stanting, who's got like military dress, probably. Sort of medals and pauldrons.
Little half
You,
cape
you made me
there, like-
spend money, so I can't wear that.
Little half cape.
My best military dress.
Well, I mean, your best military dress currently wasn't that great, but you've upgraded.
true.
It's all
You've
good.
upgraded, yeah.
It's
You know?
it's like high tier
You took it to the
formal
yeah,
dress, like
yeah.
where like generals and their like lieutenants and stuff would show up in their best dress. It's similarly close to that.
Yeah, maybe not as adorned, probably, but
No.
but similar.
I mean, not as
similarly.
like medaled up and like.
Yeah, you have sort of like the you have like the dress uniform, but with like the shoulder cape of like Harn. You know what I mean? It's sort of like the sort of like red, bright red with the.
So,
And he has,
the way you
he has a
describe these,
flower.
I picture them very poofy.
Not particularly. More like flowing than poofy. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like very light, sort of breezy, clothing, like silks and stuff. You know.
Okay.
It's like your Arabian and also Asian sort of look. You know what I mean? I don't know how to sort of. It's just in my head and it's hard to describe.
Okay.
But feel free to imagine it however you want. I don't care. Anyway, you guys make your way. Oh, you don't make your way anywhere. You're waiting for Nira and Jenna, and they arrive, and they are suitably attired, in similar sort of very, very classy looking clothing. Nira surveys all of you with a critical eye, making sure to find any faults in anything that you're up to / wearing / whatever. And
Wolf does a little turn.
yeah. Perfect. And she nods her approval and sort of like specifically looks at Estrella and says like, you got them ready. I wasn't really expecting it, but perfect. They seem passable.
What can I say? I'm a miracle worker.
Yeah.
Sometimes she remembers things.
Nira herself is like decked out in like the whitest of whites. Like she is. It's like the cleanest possible look that you could get. And it's clear she's going to be representing herself as some kind of like merchant, high-level merchant person, whites and golds, and Jenna, playing off of her incredibly crimson sort of scarlet skin tone, is doing more of a sort of a black and blue to clash, and it looks smoking. That's all I'm gonna say. It's
Okay.
She is an attractive female. This is for sure. Okay. So you guys make your way to the lift. The lifts, you get a bunch of looks as you're, walking through the drudgery that is the 57th tier in that kind of garb. But
Roll to see if we
clearly you're headed somewhere. So that's fine. You make your way there, and the guard hardly even looks at your papers, seeing the way you're dressed. It's just like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, you're headed up. That's fine, and lets you guys through. What are you rolling?
Estrella was checking to make sure everyone looked good, I think.
Yeah.
I think
was-
so.
that-
Sure.
Yeah, there's
Put it that way.
there is
Oh,
hardly
don't worry.
a
We'll put
thing.
it that way for now.
There's hardly a thing out of place.
So
So-
that's a acrobatics roll to walk in front of Jean when he's looking at Estrella.
Damn, that's a good roll.
Standing just like
He's
slides
just-
in and is like,
He's just,
no.
You can look at my ass instead of hers.
If I notice, I'm gonna be infinitely amused. But I'm not gonna
He's
do
like-
anything.
Anyway.
no one looks as dapper as me. He's just like rolls in between everybody.
So you're making your way up in the elevator, and you've got like something like 20-25 minutes of like elevator basically from here to there. So if you've got dialogue that you'd like to dialogue, you're welcome to do so. If not, I can just move things along. This is a good situation for inter-character things if you want,
All right.
or with Jenna or Nira, because
Are,
they're
Yeah.
are there guards going up with us in this elevator or no?
it's not attended, like there isn't a
Okay.
person in there, but there will be on either end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Stanting,
Right.
isn't this like the time we once invaded that party to get the relic of the monkey?
No.
Standing doesn't mean anything. So everyone got their stories straight for this, right?
I would hope so.
I don't even know my story yet.
Stares at Cadius.
Well,
I can't think,
like I have,
But I just can't figure out anything that makes sense.
Then
I
work
have
it
a
out.
legitimate invite.
This is true. I am a friend of Stanting. This is no lie.
I'm already plus
I
one.
believe so, Stanting. I'm sorry. I just. What more is there to me? I am just a man.
You're a good groundskeeper. You're a promising young lad in the field of herbology.
Yes. The reason nobody knows you is because you're still so young, but you managed to get an invitation through Stanting.
As
That sounds good. I could do that.
as you guys are talking about, and you're finishing your sort of chatter about what you're going to be doing and so forth, the elevator comes to a halt on the correct floor. The doors, slide open in that sort of Magitech way, and
Oh,
and you're greeted by like sunlight, like legitimate like bright sunlight on your faces, like even just stepping out from the elevator. It's clear you're like at the peak of this place. You can feel like the breeze of the city moving, like sort of present on your faces, and stepping out first, of course, Nira and Jenna lock arms and try and look close to each other, and make their way down, kind of out of the elevator and down the street a little ways. The street itself is sort of well polished, you could say, and this place is clean as fuck, and there's actual grass like growing in certain areas that must be incredibly hard to maintain, sort of in a fake manner. There are people.
AstroTurf.
There are a couple people coming and going, but it seems like most people are making their way towards where the party will be hosted, of course. which is this large sort of manor house, like large sort of mansion almost in a slightly shaded area. Like there's a little bit of overhang of the other tier, the second tier, and it's just like tucked in a little bit. Though it has like a yard, which is insane. This whole place is just like, this whole tier, even the third tier here, is just like decadent. Like decadent beyond anything you've seen in your lifetimes. You know.
Like Stanting, but
So except maybe Stanting. Anyway, you guys make your way to the sort of gatehouse of this mansion, and there's a well-dressed individual who's clearly like a security, private security or personal security for the event, and he reaches out an arm, sort of stopping you with a halt gesture, and says like, invitations please, this is an invite-only party.
Of course, I hand mine over.
And you hand them over. He looks them over, and it's all hunky-dory. Clearly the forgeries are well done. There's no sort of issue there. And Nira and Jenna, same deal, smile politely and sort of step through once they're allowed. Let me, I have a map for this. I do need to copy her though. Where is it? Here we go. Hang on one sec, guys. I'm just gonna move you over. Where is the banquet hall? Bam. As you enter, of course, there are tons of people here, and all of them, seemingly influential individuals, or at least, rich. People who kind of know what they're about in high society and so forth. Though there are some sort of hangers-on, I guess you would call them. People that are sort of like you, have got invitations when maybe they shouldn't have, or so forth.
Like us?
Yeah.
That motherfucker has a sword.
Scum.
Walking around the place, there are tons of slaves. Well-dressed slaves, however, though their collars mark them as slaves, sort of moving back and forth, putting plates down, changing bottles of wine and various other sort of typical, like waiter-ish activities. And excuse me. When you step inside, there's another pair of guards, and they sort of look you over with very perceptive eyes. Do any of you have any visible weapons?
No.
I
Nope,
wish I
left
did.
my sight on the ship. All I have on me would be my violin.
Okay.
I wish I had them, but I don't.
Does anybody have any hidden weapons?
No.
Nope.
No.
I
think
don't
when-
trust
when-
myself with sleight of
I
hand.
don't trust my sleight of hand that much.
I think
Yeah.
when you said no weapons, that we didn't bring any.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't
making,
trust my sleight of hand
this
enough.
this would have been the point where if you did, they would have seen you. You know what I mean?
This is actually a large great sword
So-
hidden in my pants.
Is that a large greatsword, or you just happy to see me?
A little bit of both.
A little bit about it, a little
Little bit of
why,
both.
why can't it be both?
Why
Um,
can't it be both? Excellent.
So anyway,
That's fucking.
they look you over, but seeing nothing, they don't stop you. They don't stop Nira or Jenna either. And you're basically free to do as you wish here. Most of the tables are sort of occupied by chattering nobles and so forth, or somebody talking about you overhear somebody talking about the current price of pleasure slaves being like way too high, and that he's gonna talk to the minister about like lowering taxation on whatever. Then there's like another group of people who are sort of in similar sort of military garb to Stanting, who are talking about the rebel incursions of those damn nomads recently, and like how we should punish them and like destroy their encampments rather than just beating them back and so forth. They're typical military stuff. As you wander around a little bit further, you can hear, serving girls, basically sort of slaves, talking to the people who they're offering the food to. Like, this is, whatever fancy thing is on this plate. Like, you should, try one of these. And people are either waving it away or taking whatever it is, eating it. You get a couple of those sort of come up to you with whatever, fancy hors d'oeuvre is being served before the main meal. Sort of offering it to you on a platter.
Yeah.
And
Take some.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, take some. Why not?
It's a once in a lifetime
Why?
opportunity.
Right? This is fancy food.
Oh yeah, this is like the best thing you'll ever eat, sort of stuff. But it's also like, what can I compare it to? I know I don't have any like specific food that I'm telling you, but this is like, high society stuff.
This is like your sirloin steak being this big.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
For those of you that aren't.
Sean eats all the things under where you're only supposed to take one. The serving girls, of course, they blend in with the furniture as much as possible. They're not gonna they're not gonna get on you about it or anything. They just serve the food and then they're out. Like, they want as little trouble as possible. So I'm gonna open it up to. Okay, I'll give you some descriptions of some people that are sort of around.
All right.
You recognize, of course, one of the guard captain, the sergeant that you've met before, down on the lower tiers, in a much nicer sort of definite mage attire, kind of red crimson robe, rather than like military stuff. And you see another fellow who looks like he might be in charge of security or in charge of something. The sort of elven fellow that you can see the icon with the sword sort of over his shoulder, like that. This guy here, who's sort of surveying the crowd very carefully. He's got very, very polished metal armor on that looks fancy as hell, and that similar sort of crimson cape over his shoulder. Pig's chatting with Stanting's chatting with the freaking military guys. He just blends and he's like, "Hey, buddy!" And they recognize you because like one of them is a ranger. He goes like, "Stanting! Oh, I remember the time when you shot that man from 17 yards away.
Blew his entire head off.
Took off his entire foot. He hobbling around. We called him Stumpy the rest of the week. Shit like that."
Oh my god. Stumpy.
And
We called him Tier.
the girl sitting here, she appears to be tasting some very fancy looking drink, sort of fruity looking drink, and scrunching her nose at it like she's totally unimpressed. This fellow here is talking to a couple of other people at the table, and he seems to be talking about some kind of Etha's procedure for generating spells is so mundane by comparison with the newer, more recent sort of ritual processes. Pre-inscribed runes are all the rage, like that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. Mage things.
Mage things.
This is a serving girl. She's sort of directing some of the more green looking ones who maybe this is the first thing that they've had to do, and sort of making sure people are in shape. But she still seems sort of young and like just probably higher level slave.
Yeah.
It's the best I can put it. Let's see. Those of you, of course, who have seen anything to do with anything ever know that this guy here is the fucking general.
Oh fuck.
This guy here is General
god.
Hugo August, and he is a war hero and a badass. Like every
I'm gonna punch
story
him.
that
This
you've
is like
ever heard.
this is like
Which guy?
Stanting
Can you
times.
Every
ping
story
again?
that you-
I didn't see which.
This
Guy
is
on
like-
the far right.
This is
guy.
like
All
Stanting
right,
Tier
okay,
of Epic
yeah, that
times 50.
This is every story you've ever heard about this guy is like he killed 50 people, like one versus 50, you know, and like he held
He's
the
OP, man.
barracks against the invaders for like hours before backup showed up.
He
And,
killed 13
and
guys
then-
with a single shot.
and then he led the charge, you know, like that kind of shit. Like this
He
guy,
saved Stanting's grandfather.
this guy,
Someone severed off his arm and he killed them with it, then reattached it himself.
this guy is a badass, or so you've heard. I mean, he looks normal enough, you know, sort of like long brown hair and, you know, a little bit of facial hair, and he's wearing very sort of, compared to other higher military guys, sort of simple clothing. It's clear that he doesn't sort of seem to think too much of himself, or at least doesn't dress that way. And you always have to wonder, like, what is true in his reputation, you know? Because clearly there is hyperbole, right?
Well, he sounds like the type of guy that, like, when Stanting was a recruit at, like, 17 or 18, that it's like barracks talk that's like, did you hear about General, like, Hugo? He, like stormed the castle by himself and killed 1,000 men.
Yeah, he's exactly that kind of thing is what you.
It's
will think
like
about him.
fear the higher up, and they kind of exaggerate stories.
He's a living legend.
At a table that is probably the most attended table right here, on the entire place, is, from what you can recognize, the current magistress of Harn.
Tell
Oh.
Yes, Talthel. And she is being sort of, you know, approached by people, and they're saying like, oh, you know, I wanted to get your opinion on this or that and the other thing, and she's being very sort of, you know, the way that a higher up would be to these sort of requests, sort of
She's
dismissive but polite about these things.
File your
and-
complaint on the 5th tier.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at it
She's
later.
being very political about it.
Yeah, and she sort of seems to know how to play the game. You know, the smiles and the sort of like you know, the manners and so forth. She doesn't seem like a too bad of a person, but clearly she's, you know, not 100% authentic. Let's see who else we got that I can describe for you. Me. Who have I got over here? I can't remember. Oh yeah, this guy, of course, is the man of the hour. This is the Minister for Taxation and Slave Imports, and he is, of course, Luther
Metalface.
Edemus,
Metalface,
the current host of the party. He's, you know, politely chatting with whoever is around. There are several very rich people at his table who look like they must own like 90% of the slaves in the boiler rooms, like all the way down. You know, they look like the kind.
1% owns the 90%. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a girl on his table who looks like she could probably handle herself. She doesn't actually have that sword that she has in the picture.
I was about to say she's got one giant ass katana.
No. But she you know, she's sitting politely and listening to them all and sort of just sort of assessing the situation. Yeah, and I think that's everybody except upstairs, of course. There's, you know, tables along the sort of balcony above you. And there's only 2 people who I have up there that are like talkable.
Oh yeah.
Who look a little bit more rugged, a little bit more rough around the edges types. You would recognize them as sort of wayfaring individuals. You know, like they're probably from somewhere out in the desert, or at least, you know, represent someone out there, and they've been invited as sort of a courtesy, you know, to like diplomacy. But they don't seem to be really enjoying themselves super much. So this is the banquet hall. There are several doors. I don't have them on the map. But there are several doors that like lead out to all kinds of servant quarters and, you know, like kitchens and various hallways and so forth. But this is sort of where the guests are.
Yeah, rooms that don't matter as much as these.
Yeah. And of course the garden has to be somewhere, but it's not here. You know.
Well, it's inside. I mean,
It's yeah, it's on the ground somewhere, but it's certainly not right in front of you. So there you go. That's, holy shit, that was a lot of talking. That is an assessment of everybody here. And of course Jenna and Nira pick a spot on the wall and sort of survey everybody coming and going and watching and listening and, you know, conversing whenever they sort of need to or have to. And They
can see
seem
the
to
sign.
they seem to be enjoying each other's company more than they're enjoying the party itself. But they're taking advantage, of course, the rich lifestyle that they can
Yeah.
do so.
We can see the sergeant from the door, right?
Yeah, you would be able to see pretty much the whole room. I mean, there are
Okay.
people moving around, but if you could recognize
Yeah.
her, you could probably recognize her.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's find a table, preferably one close to this door.
You know what? You guys can go off on your own. Just spend a few minutes to look around, settle in, mingle, get used to the whole atmosphere, and then at a certain time we can meet up, discuss things.
Right forward table.
All right.
You know, just
So,
picking a
like,
spot. And then,
Handing
you
it
know,
off to you guys, pretty much.
You guys are discussing plans. Stanting's not even there. He's
Yeah.
already like way off with the military.
Rallick just like he gave everyone a meeting spot. You know, right lower table.
Where did
Spots
you put
there.
yourself? Pip?
Yeah.
He's
But
just
we can
at the
all
door.
Oh, you're.
we can all disperse.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say you can just like throw yourself at a table if you're talking to your like
Yeah,
the military
okay.
dudes.
Move,
Jean,
jump
I'm
in,
assuming you want to hit the food and the drink.
go over here.
And it does seem to be like before the food has been served, so there's clearly like lots of food coming. You know.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like this is going to be extravagant as fuck. So, you know, that is definitely gonna be the case.
I mean, Relic will just kind of search this area over here near this table, you know, mingle and look for a doorway that might lead to a garden that isn't labeled, but, you know, he doesn't know where he's going, so he's
you're
not
what,
going to
just,
try
like,
to look suspicious.
You're just like peeking into like through servant doors when they're opening and stuff, and so
Yeah,
forth,
you know,
or-
just like looking around, mingling with people. If a door opens, see if I can see through it, continuing.
Sure.
Hi, it's great
okay.
to know.
Hang on.
No, less like that, more like, hey, how's it going?
So as you're sort of peeking your head around the corners, and by the way, guys, I'm gonna go through like each one of you and like have you tell me what you're up to and so forth. Like this, I want to get like as much RP out of this as I can because I have a lot of stuff here. If you want to do it.
Okay.
So Cody's like peeking into doors and so forth. And as you're doing so, one of the servant girls who's kind of like leaving the back room, one of the back rooms, sees you sort of like looking through, and she goes, "Oh, can I help you, sir?" You know.
I'm looking for the bathroom.
No, it's all right. I'm just trying to get the lay of this place. I haven't been this high up in a little while. Still trying to get my bearings, as it were.
Master Demas has said that all guests should remain in the banquet hall, and he'll. I think he has some kind of speech that he wants to make, and he'll want everybody to be around to hear it.
Oh, of course.
So
I don't plan on going anywhere.
Don't go wandering off.
I don't plan on going
She
anywhere.
sort of does
do not
like
worry about it.
the polite smile, like, oh, he's a noble, and I am trying to make a joke and whatever. It's not really what I should be doing, but I'm doing it anyway. And,
Yeah.
and,
It's fuck life.
Gets back to what she was up to. Does anybody else want to sort of take the reins here? Or am I gonna have to like call you out individually?
Anybody,
I'm just
because
waiting
I
for
can
everyone
go.
else. I'm scouting out the NPCs, and I'm like, which
I
one
want
do
Wolf to
to
go because this looks interesting.
That looks bad, actually.
Okay.
I
Alright.
know.
She does
that's
not
why
know
it's
me.
interesting.
Where I want to go.
She
She
knows
doesn't
me
know
when I was
him.
a wolf.
It's
She does
true.
not know me as I am now.
Of course.
I'm going to walk up here and go, "Hello,
She will
madame."
soon.
She turns to you she's wearing like pretty much all like red sort of silk and like flowy sort of mage-ish looking garb, and she smiles and says, "Hello, is there something I can do for you?"
No, I was just wondering why a beautiful one of yourself is all by yourself.
You're too kind. I'm afraid I'm a little out of my element here. Generally not so high up as this. It's all a little bit overwhelming.
I can see what you mean. I'm really not really. I never received an invitation. I'm more of a +1, and I've never been up here before. So, seeing these kind of. Well, this is very new to me.
Oh, you didn't receive an invitation? Who did you come with?
I came with the famous T.R. Stanting.
Oh yes, Mr. Stanting from the 7th tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've heard enough about him, and I believe I may have met him before. She sort of like tries to recall if it's standing that she's talked to before. She says,
in the
Uh,
57th
If it helps
tier.
you, my lady, he has the biggest mustache I've ever seen anybody ever have.
"Oh yes, I've definitely run into him before." Um, she sort of is like awkwardly standing there a little bit. She looks very different to how she looked when she was sort of down being her sergeant self in the lower tier, sort of in charge and ready. She looks a lot more nervous and like out of place here. Like she would rather be wearing sort of the heavy flak jacket type stuff
Yeah.
than what she's wearing at the moment. Um, she shifts a little awkwardly and like takes a seat at one of the tables and gestures for Wolf to sit down to at one of the empty chairs. And says, "I'm sure that food will be coming soon, and well, we won't want to miss that." Um,
Oh, I'd be very gracious to join one such as yourself.
so, what is it that you do?
Me, I'm more of his gardener. I help him a lot with that kind of stuff. I also tell his slaves what to do sometimes when they're supposed to be gardening.
A gardener. Oh, you must spend a lot of time up in this sort of tier then. Here, where things can actually grow in the natural sunlight.
Oh, no, no, no. Actually, it's very weird to see naturally growing plants up here.
Then, what do you garden?
I just make his garden look nice. Let's just put it that way.
She sort of shrugs, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I
There,
myself.
there is some light around like the standing.
Oh yeah, of
area, but
course.
not like
yeah,
not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
huge swaths of like courtyards like up here, but there'd be like, a big enough patch. There'd
Sure.
be a tree
There's
and
plenty.
like,
I mean, all the way down into like the 31st, 32nd tier. There's plenty of light. It's just like not in your face about it. So anyway,
not as open.
she continues. She says, "I myself am working for the Harn military. Those of us with arcane talents are employed to search for things, follow clues, and so forth. It's very dull to those who don't understand, but catching bad guys, I suppose."
Oh, I know a little bit about the arcane arts. It's one of the reasons why I'm a gardener. I have very limited ways of doing things, and he kind of goes to his glass and makes some water. This comes in handy when you're trying to garden.
She she sort of raises an eyebrow a little bit and says, "Oh, you're a practitioner of magic as well. You don't look like the sort. Like the way you're dressed is sort of like more your typical noble rather than your mage. There seems to be sort of a slight style difference, but she nods and says, that must be incredibly useful to create something as valuable as water. You must be rich beyond your wildest dreams."
Unfortunately, I haven't brought my talents to try and make me any money. I don't see that kind of thing as something I need to do.
Well, more power to you, I suppose. Those who are greedy generally have a larger way to fall. Okay, so sidelong to somebody else, and we'll keep the dialogues going. I like it. I'm gonna be doing a lot of RP, so I'm enjoying.
Oh yeah, and just onto somebody else if you
So
just
well,
stick to
Estrella
chat
and
too.
Jean seem to be
Yeah.
sort of nudging and doing stuff. So like, why don't you guys do something for us? Let's.
All right. Well, Estrella takes a seat behind that woman who happened to be tasting wines and not particularly liking
Mm-hmm.
them, and I guess she sort of half drags Jean with her, trying to get him to behave.
I'm just looking around for any sign that they're gonna start serving food. The
John's just like sitting at the table, going like,
The hors d'oeuvres are clearly, I mean, they're good, but they're so small. I mean, I need meat.
It's a good thing France is destroyed at this time.
the girl that you sat down next to, she appears to be an elf, by the way, with very, very sort of pale, almost white hair, like very blonde, and she's still sort of you know, doesn't look super happy about being here. Like she's put off by like what they're serving and stuff. And she turns to you and says, "This wine is awful. Have you tasted it?"
Not yet. I in fact just got here. It's not to your liking, I assume. I'm gonna have some.
And then spit it right back out.
I don't see why they didn't buy from my wine, you know, why they didn't buy from my stores. I have so much better.
Could I roll a knowledge local on her, just so I don't have to say I don't know who she is, because
Sure.
that might turn
You
out
can-
badly.
You can roll knowledge local if you want.
Can I
Alright.
just know if she knows DD8?
She knows.
See,
I
I
just
just
know.
exactly. As soon as the dialect or the
She
accent came
might.
out.
She might.
Oh god.
They're related.
Sister.
Okay, 20.
20.
Right. So bad.
She is clearly, from the way she's speaking the common tongue, you know, the way she's speaking and the way that she sounds, you can, and my accent is bad, like I'm not very good at it, but
Yeah.
you know, just imagine DGA doing it.
Yeah.
What is this? She's clearly like a member of, you know, the sort of like elven non-city elite. Sort of like a diplomat or a how could you put it? Somebody of high importance to culture outside of Harn.
Okay.
Yeah. Though she's clearly been here some time, and she's talking about like, you know, her things and what she has that could have been better than this and so forth. So she's sort of jaded, I guess. You don't know her name, however.
Okay. That's cool.
But she you know, she watches you with curiosity. Like, she watches you carefully when you take a drink to see what your reaction is, by the way.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, I
You
take
want
a
her to
sip.
lick you?
I narrow my eyes, look a bit thoughtful, and I look very unsure.
Might I try?
Estrella is half elven.
Yes, she's a half elf.
Does she speak Elven?
Yes, she
She
does.
does. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
what I wanted.
I just didn't want to leave out Jean, or else I would have switched.
The
Yeah.
I am eyeballing that
Yeah.
wine.
watching you drink, she waits until sort of like she sees the expression on your face of sort of unsure satisfaction.
Yeah, like not sure if
not sure.
like.
And she addresses you in Elven like immediately after that, sort of, you know, all of the things that they have here in these human tastes are it's just piss, you know, it tastes awful. You know, Elven wines are so much richer. We put so much more effort into the creation of beautiful things. This is wasted, you know, like sort of.
Throws the cup on
She's
the floor.
clearly
Throws the wine in a fucking circle.
Yeah. Well, she like, you know, the nearest servant girl who's like leaning over, she like glares at for like no good reason. The girl's like, you know,
Shit, I'm dead.
I just give her a charming and amused smile and say, "Well, us and more you have a lot more time to work on such precious things. They humans tend to be impulsive, quick to, you know."
Yes,
things.
yes, of course. I am just quick-tempered, I suppose. I should
I think Pat's
consider.
gonna cry.
Yeah, I should consider more carefully. The small amount of time those little humans have on this earth. Pat's like, oh my god,
Pat's dying.
dying.
He can't take it.
He's red as hell.
If you are looking for quality wine, you should come to my store. I sell perfectly brewed, perfectly fermented elven wine on the, well, subsidiary of mine. Not myself, of course, running the
Of
store.
course.
Running the storefront on the 33rd tier.
Okay, I'm actually just write this down.
Completely oblivious to the conversation. I'm
Wait
going
a
to try to
Wait a second.
Poor Jean.
33rd
What is
tier,
this?
you say?
Going
Mm.
to attempt to acquiesce the wine that
Yeah.
Estrella is drinking.
You're just like taking it.
I'm just gonna like reach over and just be like,
I hand it over without even looking. Like, there you go, dear.
I'm just
sort of
gonna-
thing. Like,
I'm just gonna down it.
You're just gonna down.
Like it's
I-
ale.
my eyes,
she's
but I look
gonna
amused.
like she's watching you sort of like sidelong down the table as she's talking to Estrella, of course, because
How does it
she can
taste?
see you in the background just going like this like thing that she's basically called the worst drink ever, and she's got that like scrunched up like face as she watches you like guzzle this absolute piss water.
He is going on my checklist of people to kill later.
I kind of roll my
People
eyes.
who are uncouth. This guy.
Yeah, exactly. I
Uh,
roll my eyes and look amused and lean forward, still in Elven, and go, "He's a character. Don't mind him. He's more of a charm to watch than anything else."
Again, of course, in Elven. This is a completely private conversation.
So see your way out of it, Raven.
She smiles, sort of a polite like,
Of course.
to Jean like across Estrella, sort of acknowledging him, and then she turns to Estrella and says, "I assume you are only with him because he is well endowed."
She's always David, I don't.
This is excellent.
You see her eyes. You see her eyes sort of like just flick ever so quickly, like,
I say nothing. I just give her a bit of a knowing nod and kind of.
She,
I don't.
she does the clandestine smile of, of course the sex is probably pretty good, and then turns and contemplates the shitty wine in her glass and once again and without looking at you, continues and says, "The humans do have their uses after all," and that continues. So anybody else want to take the reins here? Because that's a little scene there.
That was pretty awesome.
It was great.
Jesus.
Cadius will be going like to this table, I guess, first, and like chatting up with people and seeing if any of them are of religious belief, or trying to find some of them that are like the religious group kind of thing.
Okay, you're basically going to like a table that you think might
Like
be
table popping in,
might
hearing
be
some
like
stuff,
Serenray
talking
guys
about
or
the
something.
same thing, or
You
like,
you can hear a couple of people talking and they're saying things like as you're popping between tables, the one you're at right now, you can hear a couple of people sort of chatting about slavery in general as like a concept, like I don't know if the minister really has any idea exactly how much harm he's causing, if we had everybody freed and we just paid everybody for their work, I'm sure they would be more productive, like so forth sort of conversation, though they're doing it in sort of clearly one of them is drunk, like he's already been into the bottle, and clearly he's like talking a little too loud when he's like criticizing the minister in his home. And the other guy's sort of just like nodding and like kind of agreeing, but like trying to be quiet about it, sort of.
yeah, he's like, I'm agreeing with you, so you calm
Yeah,
down.
man, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
like
that's
you just
cool,
chill,
right, yeah.
Just
know.
shut up.
All right. I'll continue on. Not quite the conversation I was looking for, so I just continue on.
As
Like,
you keep going,
I pipe
you
in
see,
a little.
you see at one of the tables. You're piping in somewhere. What did you say?
Well, no, like I just
Oh.
pipe in. Like,
Well, you
oh,
see
yes,
at one of the
blah, blah,
tables
blah.
there is an incredibly odd sight. There is a goblin individual at one of the tables, and he is decked out. This guy is like like think
He's
like
wearing 10 rings.
I hate
Is that corn?
what?
The Magic Emporium?
It's not corn.
Oh.
No. But he's decked out, and when he smiles, you can see that his teeth are replaced with gold. The dude has like gold goblin fangs like in
He
his
is a
mouth.
pimp.
The guy's obviously like in charge of some serious
Does
shit.
he have a stick?
Does he have a stick? He,
A pimp stick?
no.
Does he have a
Damn it! But he
jaguar
does have not just one or two, but 3 chains.
All the chains.
It's like 50 of
So-
them.
and he's conversing in Goblin with like a couple of humans who look like they might be, you know, his employees or something. But clearly, you know, this guy's done well for himself considering
Pimpin'.
he has enough clout that he's speaking Goblin to the human employees like, I want to
Yeah.
do it in my preferred language, bitches.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh God.
type.
Okay. I am just gonna move on. I can't deal with that. Oh Jesus. I will continue my search through the tables. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just go into more and more tables.
No, that was fine. I didn't have an icon for that dude. I just made him up now.
Legit.
So
I don't know if you want me to do every table.
What are you looking for?
Well, I was just gonna wait until if you gave it to me or not. Otherwise, I'm going upstairs.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, as you're walking around, you can see that there are a couple of people who are dressed in what looks like sort of religious garb. You know, like one of them has sort of like the symbol of Serenray on like a, you know, emblazoned sort of like silk chest, you know,
But he's really a Nazi.
part, and clearly he's like a clergy member sort of guy.
All right.
And he's conversing the relative benefits of, like, you know, the god of sunlight in places where there are no, you know, where the sun cannot shine in the lower tiers. It is most important to believe in Serenray, you know, like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Okay,
to,
I'll
like,
I'll join in on this table.
Okay.
I'll come in here. Obviously he's talking about like the sunlight being a good thing in lower tiers, and I'll talk to him and be like, I completely agree with you. There's no other god that you need to believe in these kinds of tiers, because the sun is the highest tier. One would actually say above the first. You know,
I
kinda like-
agree. You know, I am in agreement that the sun holds sway over us all. It bakes the ground dry as it is now, and dries up even the richest bodies of water. You know, and blah blah blah, sort of shit
Yeah.
like that.
such a precious thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like try and make it go down to small talk, see if other people get in with this.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
then-
and clearly it's like discussion that can be had. You know, like it's like religious talk, but it's not like controversial or anything. And you know, you're not talking about it being above the first tier in the earshot of the magistress. Like she's,
There you go.
you know, you're not having this conversation next to the magistress, who probably wouldn't take kindly to being, you know, like.
You see
So
that big
after-
ball of yellow up there in the sky?
That's
That is
above you.
awesome.
That's above you. No, so after a couple of drinks, I guess, like, I need to know the feel of the kind of group that's going on. Are we like getting along here? Are we? Because I might put in something that would be very risky.
Well,
but I
you
don't
certainly.
want
I
to
mean,
if
it
it's
certainly
not
seems
working.
like, you know, for people that didn't know each other 2 seconds ago, you seem to have like hit it off a little bit. You know, like clearly you share the same ideals as this guy, and he knows that you're like a follower of Serenray, and that like he's, you know, his flock must be tended to, you
Yeah.
know, in that manner.
All right, so I'm gonna go for it. I go up to him, like I lean in and kind of whisper, and I'm like, "Speaking of lower tiers, have you heard that there's an uprising of followers of certain? How should I put this?
Nazis.
Nazi.
Serenray followers that lay a mark that is not Serenray's."
The man sort of like, you know, tightens his brow a little bit at that, and says, there are always those who praise things that they see as taboo, you know, those things that they find exciting in the moment, but they don't understand the power that they're messing with, you know.
I agree.
Sort of thing,
I agree.
And these people need to be taken in hand and shown the proper way.
Pot calling the kettle black?
What? Yeah. Oh God, I don't know.
Out of RP.
I'm not out of RP. It's just so risky. It's Nazis, bro.
It's Nazis, bro. Like, how do you?
How do you delve into this?
I heard there was
No.
some Nazis down there.
No, after a while of a little small talk, I'll just go upstairs.
Cool. I'm gonna side off to things that are happening in chat here for a second. While Jean is looking around and examining the bountiful women, I'm gonna just tell you the name of this elf that you've been conversing with.
Thank you. I was about to introduce
because
myself.
I'm sure that like you guys have done that, you know, in the course of this conversation. Her name is Tanya, by the way.
Okay.
Got it. And you know, she looks disparagingly at Jean as if he's some kind of barbarian, but you know, there's always that amused sort of like, well, my compatriot Estrella here has snagged probably, you know, the largest cock in the room. So you know, we're enjoying this small secret in our elven discussion here. And her mood has significantly increased now that she's bitching about stuff to you. You know what I mean? Like, she's talking about how much she hates everything, and she seems to be enjoying hating everything. You know.
I'm taking a much more moderate stance on that, but I'm still.
And when you look over at Isel and sort of like, you know, notice her, and she's sort of conversing with Wolf at this point. They're having a bit of like a small talk, sort of getting to know each other, sort of thing. When you look over at Isel and sort of acknowledge her, she does an almost small double take, like when she looks at you, like haven't I seen you before? Sort of look. Though she's talking with Wolf, so she's not really gonna like reach over the table and like say things.
I don't know. It's like just when I catch her eye, it's like, hi.
Yeah. She certainly saw you. And she's clearly, again, she's just like super out of her element. Like it is almost polar opposite to what you've seen of her before. Like she's almost timid here, rather than sort of the authoritarian, like, you fucking tried to bribe me, bitch, you know, like type that she was before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who hasn't done anything? Rallic and Stanting have not done anything. So
I did things.
Oh well, I just meant like, you know.
Oh.
Stanting.
Like voice RP things.
Let's
is just at this
that
table
too.
like talking, and things are probably getting rather loud, like old friends who haven't talked in a long time, like military, like, hey, you bastard, you stole my rations.
You still owe me 5 gold from when we made that bet you wouldn't be able to jump the river, but then you know.
He's like, hey, Jerry, you stole my rations, you bastard. He's like, I didn't steal nothing. And Stanting's like, oh, I planted the socks in your tent and I stole your rations on you, you dimwit. Do you remember that sylph lady? Ah, she was quite the foxy lady, the fox in the hen house, but there was less hens and more cocks around.
Oh my
The guy at the end of the table's like, you bastard, that's my wife.
You just RP'd an entire table, no problem.
I got this.
RP the whole table.
This is amazing going on
I
in my
think
head
of
right
all
now.
the players, the trophy to RP goes to Stanting.
I'm
RP's an entire group of
myself. Like,
people.
I'm amused with just my own thoughts on this right now.
No, of course. Ralph, did you have anything specific you wanted to do, or?
Well, I mean, he was just sitting here, just like, you know, watching people and such. But
Ralph's being an antisocial mofo.
no, talking to people that happen to be around him, you know, about things. But you know, he hasn't been in the city for very long, so he wouldn't know much. And if he sees the food, or you know, if something happens, he'd be moving over towards Estrella and Jean to, you know, sit over there.
Nero's gonna sort of, seeing you sort of sitting at a table at the end, like closest to the possible exit that you can. Nero's gonna sort of sidle over, you know, and she touches sort of like your shoulder with her hand, and leans in and goes, "Why don't you go and find out where this garden that we're looking for is?" And she punctuates the request with a sort of like her hand is like this, and it goes like this, you know, like for a short period, like, "You are not being helpful. Go and be helpful." You know, sort of gesture. And she, you know, she smiles and like outwardly looks like she's just sort of whispering pleasantries to you, and then steps back and wanders back over to Jenna, who she like wraps an arm around, basically.
Yeah, Relic will just, you know, smile at that, you know, play it off and stand up about towards where she goes, and then, you know, just start heading around, talking to people and doing it as he was earlier, trying to find out where it actually is. If he can bring up talk about herbalism itself and
for sure
see where that goes.
Rallic, as you're sort of walking around, you end up. I'm just gonna steal you.
Okay.
You end up like sort of at the end of this table, and you see like the guy you heard sort of talking about magical stuff, sort of like points at you and says, "You there, young fellow. You, what do you think of the professor's theories. He says that you can't teleport something more than 100 feet without it losing at least some of its true clarity through passing through the other planes. So what's your opinion on this? Do you think the other planes are somehow tainting things? I mean, I think it's stupid. You know, like, sort of, like, clearly he's having, like, this argument with some other professor about, like, the purity of the material plane, you know?
Magic? Hmm.
I'm not a very experienced practitioner of magic myself, but maybe I could hear more of this. It sounds interesting.
I do have this ring.
Yeah, he'll use that if he needs to, but he doesn't.
No,
He doesn't
no.
pull off magic.
The guy smiles, and clearly he's just, like, having a good time arguing magic stuff with other people, and, like, this is clearly, like, not a discussion he gets to have very often. And he says, You're not supposed to say you don't know. You're supposed to agree with me, young sir. You know, like, come now, where are your manners? And he
Yes.
stands up and, like, pulls you over to the table and, like, sits you down, basically, like,
Oh,
at
God.
the table with this guy. And he says,
Come, Bill Nye.
now let me tell you about what we're talking. What the professor here is saying is that if something moves more than 100 feet outside of the material plane, there are particles, a sort of residue that attaches itself, invisibly of course, to these objects or people, and they are forever cursed or I don't really know. It's bullshit. He clearly is of the opinion that is not the case.
Well, has anything been teleported farther than that recently that's been studied?
Well, of course. I mean, 100 feet is almost no distance at all to those who can teleport around the world.
Exactly.
But you know, the stigma attached to the arcane arts has gone so far as to not allow us to research in our full potential what we would like to. So we haven't been able to assign the resources or get the higher ups, the one sitting at the cross tables over there, you know, points like at the cross tables across the top, you know, perhaps a little bit more boisterously than he should, in terms of, like, he's just freaking pointing.
Yeah.
And he goes, we haven't been able to get them to assign valuable resources, valuable money to this sort of research. And so we sit here arguing conjecture with each other when really there is no proof one way or the other.
Well, I mean, if stuff's been teleported farther than that and you can't find anything on it, then why worry about it?
Wait, what?
He's agreeing with the guy.
Oh,
basically.
he's agree. Okay.
Yeah. He actually
the
has
guy-
a decent intellect score,
The guy,
too.
the guy nods and he says, "See, this is a young man after my own heart. Boy, what's your name?"
My name is Ralik.
I am Ryland. It's a pleasure to meet you. And he sort of continues with the whole discussion and introduces you to, you know, the several older gentlemen who are sitting around the table, you know, with their sort of Stanting-esque mustaches that turn into mutton chops and, like, you know, long-ass beards with, like, a little curl at the end, sort of guys, you know, like, obviously, like, studiers of the arcane, you know?
Yeah.
And sort of, like,
The good crowd.
gets you involved against your will in this conversation. Like, whether you want to or not, you're gonna be talking about magic, motherfucker.
He has a decent in score. He actually can, to a degree.
You can bullshit it.
Yeah, he can do that.
Okay. So, Cadius looks for windows from the second floor. Okay. So, you've gone up to the second floor and you're sort of looking around.
Yeah.
And yeah, natural light is sort of filtering in from upstairs, so there are windows that you can kind of see out of on the second floor.
Can I see a garden?
Can you see a garden? Well, you take a look around. You're wandering around sort of the outside of this place and
Yep.
looking down into the down through the various windows. One, you know, leading to the street, sort of like the outside, so forth. There's one that sort of directs inwards towards like a central courtyard. And there are several, like, sort of large trees and, like, vibrantly colored plants that you can see down there. And roll perception.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Nice. Okay. So you can see an elven individual, very sort of slight and thin, blonde-haired and so forth. like attending to the plants in a very sort of caring manner. You know, he seems to be sort of like stooping and like gently looking at like the various flowers and so forth, and then like moving on and so on. This guy's clearly like tending to these things, so you may have spotted the courtyard out the window.
All right, I may have spotted the courtyard. Cool. So I'll go back to one of the tables, talk to a couple people, and I'll pick up one of the knives on the table, and I'll be like, "This knife is dirty," and I'll like get up from the table and like walk downstairs as if I'm going to complain.
Okay, so you're like, this is unacceptable.
And like, as I go by, I go to this table too, and I look at like I just barge into this conversation. I'm like, pick up this guy's clean knife. Look at this. This is terrible. And I like smudge it with my finger. I'm like, this is unacceptable. And I go downstairs with 2 knives now.
Okay. The guy's like totally like perturbed by the fact that you just wander in and steal his knife, but he doesn't really know what to do about it, so he just leaves it. Okay.
Knives.
All right. Jean's doing some stuff.
Anting is going to talk to General Hugo.
Okay.
I'll guess
You want to do that? Okay, let's do that. So you approach the table, and the general is, patiently awaiting food, basically, sort of quietly, sitting back in his chair. As you approach, he sort of, waits for you to get close enough and like address him, basically. But he's clearly watching you as you walk towards him.
I will give a crisp salute, like the normal, like, hey, I was in the army.
Yeah, he does sort of like, similarly like lazily back, if you know what I mean. Not like lazily, but sort of like more relaxed because he's higher rank. Sort of while he's sitting, at ease.
General, it would be an honor if I could sit at your table, have a quick discussion.
You're welcome to a seat, sir.
I will sit down. I remember several years ago we got caught in the third Nomad Uprising. Yes, they seem to have captured us in the scouting squad, and you came in with 20 men and chased away 10,000. It was quite a feat, if I remember correctly. I have no clue how you managed to do such a thing.
Well, many of the stories of my exploits are overwrought, but I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I'm glad that we could come to your assistance. No man should be left behind, after all.
Well, I've been hearing disturbing news from other tiers of possible insurrection, possible nomad invasions. I'm not quite certain myself, but I would like to put my name back in, and if you need my skills, I would love to be the first to have a crack bat at the battle.
Well, if you're looking to rejoin the army, you should do so at a recruiter. I personally cannot add your name to the roster here and now, and you'll excuse me, but I'll certainly be excuse me, but I'll certainly be forgetting by the time we're out of here. I have a feeling the minister is going to be quite generous with the alcohol.
Ah, it seems he is. I'll kind of proceed with small chat.
Yeah, he talks about, your time in the army and so forth, and then...
It's like, weren't you that kid who used to think that he could climb all the ropes around here and he always fell off?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, he wouldn't, know you personally, really, or even really have heard of you very much. It's more that, he wants to know your sort of individual story and so forth. Clearly interested in other people's experience in the armed forces here.
Because he hears about his own so much.
Yeah. Hey, he's heard every story about himself like 100 times. Anyway, so as you guys... I was waiting for Bear to come back so I could do this.
I'm good.
Okay. Excuse me. Wait, what are you doing?
Some water, bro.
Sean? What are you doing? John grins like, oh my god. Yeah. Tanya is going to give you the most pointedly sort of like, it's like a sly grin almost, and then she looks to Estrella and then back at Jean and goes, you best keep him occupied. His appetite.
You know I
his,
can.
His appetite seems insatiable. He's been looking at every woman that passes. Sort of.
I switched to, well, still Elvin. Don't worry, I have him on a bit of a leash, so
Oh.
to speak.
How very interesting. A collar would suit him. She says, referring to slavery, of course. Then you could have him whenever you wanted.
Don't I already?
Oh, well, I just meant more in the general sense. He's less likely to cause you problems if you deal with it in that manner.
That is true.
Besides, you won't have to worry about teaching a dog table manners that way.
All the while, I've been like debating use of the tableware as a weaponry, and I've been like picking it up and doing little like stabbing and just little things.
This just
common.
this just reinforces the you're a uncouth barbarian and you don't deserve to be sitting at this table. You should be waiting in a bedroom somewhere for a afterwards feeling in Tanya's mind while you're doing this.
I kind of half facepalm and say, I think I'll take you up on that later on.
Talk to the minister. I'm sure he can have something prepared.
Of course.
And anyway,
I
so
think
while you
Raven
guys
would-
are,
Gene would like that too much.
while you guys are, I don't know. I think you might like the end part. Anyway, while you guys are doing this and sort of everything's moving around, you see the from the corner of your eye, or depending on where you're sitting, you see the minister Luther stand up and sort of do a ding ding ding, sort of gonna make a speech type of announcement. And he states across the hall as everything sort of the murmuring quiets down so that he can speak. He says, "Thank you all for coming on this fine afternoon, and what I hope will continue into a fine evening. Our revenue this year and our income for the city has never been stronger. We have never, under the leadership of Magistress Talithel, sort of gesturing to her, and she nods politely, sort of mentioned in the speech. We have never been stronger. I believe this will be the year that we conquer this desert and we, claim our place as the most important of the 6 cities among this wasteland. If not through military might," he, nods to Hugo, who's further along the tables, and he again sort of I'm military might. That's me.
That's me.
If-
I am the might.
if not through military might, then through sheer force of wealth and economics. Our city boasts the largest number of slaves sorry, my throat is fucking killing me. Our city boasts the largest number of slaves and the most wealth accrued from slave labor than any of the others, and I'm certain that continuing to be in charge of this my speech is awful. I'm sorry. I should have written this beforehand. Continuing to stay at the head of this and have you all support me in this way will only continue to get stronger. And it sort of finishes on the city, for Harn, no.
Yeah,
and
people start clapping. I start
Everybody does
clapping.
it.
Yeah.
And he says, "Now, my noble guests, it is time to feast. Enjoy yourselves, fill your bellies, take your fill of my drink, and
Excellent wine.
never do not stint yourself on my account. To excess, everything to excess. Sort of a thing. This guy's wearing really nice sort of robes and stuff. This guy's clearly top of the top in terms of money, by the way. With really sort of nicely coiffed longer hair that comes down his back a little way. And he's got a slave or two in attendance at his table at like all times, you know, for like if he needs a refill, even like he never lifts a finger, sort of thing. And he's you know sits back down and everybody sort of you see the food being filtered out from the side of the you know where the kitchens are at and the slave passageways and so forth. They're putting down like giant sort of roast animals like on the table, various you know bountiful what could only be like sort of a harvest, which is like almost impossible in this kind of place, like tomato sort of things and you know like vegetables and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's fucking rich. And these things you know must be imports, you know, like Harn is not known for its growing of food, but the other cities they have like there has been cultivation sort of, you know,
like
or,
outplanks on the sides of the cities.
yeah,
so,
like one or
most of them
two,
have
you know, like
farms.
one or two of them of like that's sort of like their main export, if you know what I mean. So there, you know, there you go. And yeah, the food is there and it's ready. It's you know everybody sort of starts digging in and sitting. Those who are standing go and sit down wherever they can and you know start chowing down.
I'm going to
So-
walk over to Rallick, put my hand on his shoulder, and whisper in his ear. I'm thinking they're still having their crazy wizard conversation.
They are
Um,
indeed.
okay, good.
Even
Yes.
even while shoving like a leg of meat into his mouth,
Yeah,
Ryland
I would
is
think
like,
so.
and you know.
It's like, and you know that. Yeah. I'm gonna go over and whisper into his ear. I'll be like, I think I found the garden. I'm gonna let everybody else know. I'll walk over. Blah blah
You're sort of
blah.
like wandering around, sort of like mentioning, like, I think I know where the garden's at. I think I know where the garden's at.
Yeah, and just
Why-
come over to Jean. No, come over to Astrea, and I'll mention it into her ear and see how Jean reacts to that and laugh a little, and then, well, I'll ignore Wolf because he's Wolf.
I'm fine with that. I'm having a polite
I'll do the same
conversation
with the
with this
standing.
Yeah, Wolf is doing better than Jean.
Yeah.
That's why.
I would
Ignore
also
Jean.
just like to
Not
mention
sure if
that
I'm surprised
when
by
you
that.
when you come by and like talk to Estrella, Tanya does a little sort of eyebrow raise at Estrella, looking after sort of Cadius as he goes, and says, "Another one of yours," you know. Sort of,
Jeez. And I'll go back down to our table down here.
you really must share, dear. You know. So.
Well, I look at Cadius and then I nod my head over to Rallick and go, well, out of my brother and I, I'm the pretty one.
Noticing or not, I just look up confused since I can't hear her, and then look back at the wizards and back to her.
Tanya
You're
does
welcome
one of
to
those
if
sort of
you
like
wish.
eyebrow, like sort of like squinty eyed, sort of like, out of you and your brother, you're the pretty one. Was that one his? You know. So-
I wave it off and go, well, I never said I was averse to sharing. You're welcome if you please, but
We may talk later about the uncouth one.
No manners, turn me on.
Once you have him properly collared, of course, I may give you
Oh
a
my
good
fuck.
price.
well, I'm sure we can
Please sell
negotiate.
him off the slave
that
trade,
later.
please.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe I have to talk to a few of them and some other familiar faces around here. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Tanya.
And you, of course.
I hope to do so again sometime.
Yeah. You may find me sometimes at my business on the 33rd tier.
Wow, Raven.
I'll
Just
keep
wow.
an eye out.
She sort of gets back to, you know, politely cutting up small chunks of whatever it is that she's eating and daintily, you know, table manners style eating, so forth. Yeah, okay, so you guys are sort of gathering, I guess. Anybody else got anything they want to do before?
Well, Rallick's gonna see if he can get out of this table.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk over and grab Wolf and just put a hand on his shoulder.
Oh,
I'm gonna look.
it's
I'm
the
gonna look-
Tanya looks over. Another
I
one?
know, right?
God.
Yeah.
Madame, it seems I am needed elsewhere. If you ever need anything, just talk to Stanting, and I'd love to talk again sometime.
Of course, and she lets you go with like no complaint. I hope you have a good rest of your night. You know, maybe I'll see you again.
You most definitely will. And he leaves.
I'm gonna look between Estrella,
I give-
like walking away, and the food between, like in front of me, and just like, do we have to?
The food just arrived. Ah!
Wolf kind of like puts his finger in a little air, and next thing you know, water starts going onto Jean's plate, ruining the food.
I'm gonna frown and stand up, and then I'll blink at Tanya and
He doesn't
just
know.
go
How to...
ahead and walk away. Yeah,
Tanya,
blinking is
Tanya
like-
gives you one of these as you're going.
This is great. Okay, as Wolf's walking away, I'm going to nod at Zell. Is it Zell or Ezel?
Ezel.
Okay. I nod and go, Ezel, in greeting, and then walk off with Franz.
She sort of doesn't really know how to reply to that, as it's kind of like, aha, you know.
It's like, look where I am.
She just continues with her meal, sort of like,
It's like a really
of course,
subtle little finger.
I'm here as well, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
does her thing.
Rallick will turn towards the guy who dragged him over here and start to stand up. Be like, I really must be getting back to others. Make sure my sister hasn't gotten herself into much trouble with her date. I'm really too much of a novice to.
Oh, your sister! Oh, you should bring her over here as well. I wonder if she has anything to say about all of this.
It's all right. I'll come talk to you again later, perhaps. But for now, we really must get back to our group.
He sort of like pats you on the back, like, anytime, come and visit me at the mages, you know, towers on the 15th tier. We're always looking for fine academic young gentlemen like yourself, you know.
Mage's Tower? Pat?
Yes, of course. And he'll step away, like, still a little confused on what was happening with magic there, but understanding some of it.
When they get into like the runaic formulas of various things, you're just like,
That's when he loses.
what is this? I don't
He
know.
knows spells and basic things because, you know, he has enough to know that, but he doesn't know any idea how to cast anything.
As Rallick comes back, I'll be like, so how was your conversation with those wizard folk?
Jenna,
Confusing.
Jenna apparently taking this as like a joke, you know, with like Rallick with magic, like that's super funny. She's like sitting back like laughing, like covering her mouth, like while Rallick wanders back over and Caddy's like, so how was magic?
How was
So how was-
magic?
Confusing. I wish I could use it.
Not everybody
You'll
can be
see.
not everybody can be so talented.
Just walk by standing.
Oh well.
What is Stanting up
What is
to?
it?
He's like standing in the middle of the room there.
He's standing like he's facing this other guy, and they're having the most intense like argument ever. And Standing's like, "You dim-witted buffoon! It's obviously your medals go red, gold, silver, green, blue, and then red again. Yours are all backwards. They're red, green, silver. You have no idea, you uncultured heathen. You're just the lowest of like. He's just tuning this guy in.
This like probably like lieutenant colonel or something. He's like
He was like, "What the
he's like
fuck is
getting
wrong
a
with
fucking
you?"
browbeating from Stanting.
And he's like, "Who the fuck is this
Yeah,
idiot
he's just like,
standing
what
here?"
the
like,
fuck is this?
And
Like,
standing
have
is
you
just
been in the
offended by
military? You're
his
like-
mistake.
and he's like, "At least I look nice. Your mustache is going gray, old man." And he's like, "What the hell do you think you are?"
Ah, fuck. Standing never talked to a single character that I invented, but he talked to like everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, he
Standing
talked to
created
Hugo
some
actually. I take
You
that
talked
back.
to you talked to
I
Hugo.
did talk to Hugo.
I love it because Stanting he talks to people, but they're not people you create. Shut up. No, I know that.
I'm having my own RP happening.
Indeed.
He can occupy himself, yeah.
I guess I kind of see them out the corner of my eye, like congregating at this table.
Mm-hmm.
I'll finish with you later.
Whippersnapper.
No, this guy's probably more around his age. Like he's not like that much younger, like maybe a year or two.
So you guys gather at the table at the south there, and clearly Nira and Jenna have also sat down there, awaiting the news. Everyone puts their arms around people. Nira just lets you do it. She don't care.
That's why.
She's-
Because I'm not
she's-
gonna get stabbed right now.
She like when you put your arm around her, she just like leans in and like kisses your cheek, and then like goes back to so. What?
I'm gonna see this and just get like biggest smile.
She's also an
Ending's
elf,
just gonna
so-
be like, what the fuck are you doing?
And she's an elf. Oh.
Standing's like, what is
Ending's
this
like,
nonsense?
I don't even I can't comprehend.
Well, like if Estrella is pimpin' ain't easy, Nero is like the same pimpin' ain't easy, but she's got like Jenna on one side and Estrella on the other.
I'll laugh at that Standing's confusion. Just ignore it.
Anyway, so she looks over at Cadius and says, "Somebody's actually been working. What have you found out?"
I believe I have spotted where the garden is, and that the elf gardener is tending to it currently. Now, do I know? Like, I know what direction it was in. I'm
Yeah, of
guessing,
course. You'd
so
be able to like
I'll-
guess where to go, sort of thing.
I'll explain to them. It's over there.
Yeah, like if we go through that door, probably somewhere over there. Alright,
Probably.
sort of directions.
Considering normal map layouts of buildings, I would hope that door leads out. Anyways.
Okay, so through all this, Nero says, and the elf gardener was there, from what you saw.
Yes, he was tending to it quite gracefully, I would say.
Well, as he's a slave, then I wouldn't guess that he holds his master's will in particular high regard. Perhaps we can bargain with him. Something that we could gain from it.
I guess so. I wouldn't know the will of what man.
No, I neither. This is merely conjecture.
I can weighing the costs and benefits of him essentially siding with us is risky.
Well, maybe perhaps not siding, but maybe we won't have to steal anything if we are freely given these things. after all.
Yes, but slave or otherwise, we still need to question his loyalty to the minister.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Now, it may take a little more subtlety to get out of here and over there unnoticed if we move as a huge group like this. Perhaps slipping out individually or looking for a change of costume may be our best approach.
Well, I have Jean, Cadius, and Relic covered. We could exit as a team.
Oh, indeed.
I kind of raised an eyebrow. I'm like, do we really? I
No,
don't.
Rallick,
All right.
Rallick, knowing Estrella, is just going to shake his head and just assume what at this.
Assume the worst, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Tanya,
Okay.
she's just
I
like,
don't know.
Tanya's just looking over, just like, how?
How? Even women? God!
Nira smiles and sort of leans over, to Jenna a little more and says, "My poor dear here is a little too conspicuous to be sneaking around elsewhere. The only tiefling in the room. There aren't exactly as many quite as vibrantly colored as she, so she'll be our eyes here in the ballroom." She sort of like says, and Jenna nods like, "I've got this covered."
Of course you
And all right then, Cadius. So if we need to go through that door over there, then be on your way.
Very well. will make my way through to the nearest door, whichever door that may be. I'm guessing.
What I'm gonna have you do, guys, is
Mhm.
because you're like basically going into places that are off limits, like sort of out of bounds type of places. You're gonna do like stealth checks or diplomacy or bluff or however you want to get through. You know?
Where's the door? This is important for me. Where's the door out?
It's like over there.
If it's a stealth check, I'm not going with Cadius.
Okay, wait. That's fine. I'm not wearing any armor.
Oh, right.
This is why it's important. Okay, can you ping it again?
Hang on.
Let me just take my armor check penalty.
It's over there.
Armor check penalty
Armor
to 0.
peck penalty.
Yeah, I know,
Are
I'm
we,
good.
are we
Yeah,
wearing
it's
any
like
armor
over
though?
here.
Because
I'm
Very
not.
good.
Well, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be wearing armor unless you
Yeah.
specifically were.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're not wearing any to a fancy ball.
I need to check something and see if this works because I feel like she'll do it. Damn it! Okay, no, it's fine.
What's
All
up?
right. I guess I have to make my way. Like this is after eating, so everybody's
Yeah,
standing
this is kind
up
of like,
again?
well, it's
Okay.
like mid-meal, you know, like sort of, I guess you guys wait until after, when it's easier to sort of mingle around.
Yeah, when it's easier sort of to mingle around.
Yeah, because if you're
as
walking
I
around while
walk
everyone's eating, it's...
by here,
Mhm.
I don't want to be noticed by her. So as I
Yeah, Wolf's got that covered.
30, 50, 60, 70 feet. That's 2 rounds. Okay. I'm just counting like seconds in my head versus where to go and stuff.
Sure.
I am going to use Mage Hand
Mhm.
as slyly as possible
Okay.
from like here
Yeah.
while walking this way, like around this table, and use it on her wine to spill on her accidentally.
Oh god.
I want to see. This is what I want. I don't
Okay.
want to be like. I don't. It's so hard.
Okay, so first of all, sleight of hand.
Oh, balls.
This is the make or break.
Yeah.
You're doing this like with mage hand, so
Yeah, I'm trying to like. Whoop, sleight of hand. Is
Oh.
dex.
It
Okay.
is Dex. It's
It is
Dex.
dex.
Moment of truth.
But isn't it untrained, or do you have rank in it?
No, it's untrained.
Okay.
I don't think I
Do
have.
it. Do it.
I don't think it's a thing of the things. Oh, it is a
On the
thing of
list.
the things.
It
I
is, it's
can't
on the
sleight of
list.
hand.
Yeah.
It's on the list of
Well,
trained
you could
only.
like D20.
can you stealth then?
I can stealth then.
I will let you stealth. It's not really a sleight of hand, I guess. It's more of a trying to do it surreptitiously, so I'll
Yeah,
let you
just-
stealth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That's
You can
pretty
also
good.
sit at a table and do it under the
That's
table.
pretty
but...
good. So Cadius
yeah,
like
but I-
walks by and sort of waves a hand like surreptitiously, and the glass of red wine spills
That she hates.
all that she hates. It's not even good, it's not even good wine. Spills onto her white and sort of white and yellow kind of colored, very expensive dress, and she jumps up from the table, like gasping, like cursing in Elvish, like the
I
stupid
will-
fucking wine, and like how could I be so clumsy, sort of stuff.
I'll immediately go up to her and be like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Like, I just saw that happen. It's terrible." And I'll like grab a napkin and be like, "No, I can't do this. Like, I'm gonna go get some servants for you. Oh my god, I'm sorry." And then like,
She's
make
like
my
standing
way
there. She's like
out
standing
here.
there, kind of doing one of these things, like
we're gonna bust through this door. We need a servant, and I'll like walk in and be
Yeah.
like, "There's a lady in there." Just blah blah blah.
yeah, and bro bluff check.
Ah, damn it.
Actually, you don't need to bluff. There actually
You don't need
is-
bluff. She's
Actually,
there
it's-
actually
it's-
is. So
Yeah.
yeah, a couple of the slaves in the back, who are just like waiting for these kind of things, bust out with like whatever they can to clean up after this mess and so forth.
I'll try to make my way out
Yeah.
of there.
Okay. So as you make your way through the passages, you do find the gardens. It's like you open into sort of a hallway, and then there's like an open courtyard sort of area, and it's the garden area. I don't know if anybody else is going with you. If anybody's gonna like follow suit, because you
I will
could
go
like
out
wait.
shortly after.
Yeah, you could like wait for him.
No, Wolf is actually gonna stay here the whole time they're in the garden.
Okay.
I'm going to give everyone here a gracious goodbye, and then off I go with Thaddeus.
So
Wait,
there's
where
some
are you
like
going?
But I'm doing more stealth.
Okay.
I'm just gonna walk it. I'm gonna kind of like bluff my way or diplomacy my way through.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have those as backups.
So,
So if there's any-
roll.
Roll bluff. I like bluff. Bluff sounds good today.
Okay.
Gonna chase after Estrella. Wondering.
Sounds good.
No.
Bluff sounds good today. Bluff does not sound good today.
What if-
Yeah.
Wondering why everybody just.
Then you
sounds
make
like
me roll it
that.
first before I speak.
Okay.
So when confronted with a servant girl who questions why you're in the back hallways, Pig, she goes, excuse me, sir, but you shouldn't be back here. You know.
I'm heading out to the garden. You see, I'm quite a gardener myself, as you could tell by this lovely flower on my jacket, and that's the reason why I'm here. Why else would it be a garden party if I was not invited to the garden?
Well, no, the minister said that guests need to be in the banquet hall at the moment, at least, sir. You know, and she tries to like sort of guide you a little bit back towards the hall. Like, if you could please just go back that way. You know, I would be really appreciative. Sort of. I don't want to get in trouble.
My dear, I suggest you do not mess with me. See, I'm a military man myself, and as you can see, there are many of us here, and I'm sure your master does not want to
Roll intimidate.
upset the status quo. Roll intimidate? I can roll intimidate.
Did you feeling intimidate today?
Yep.
You got high
I
intimidate?
feel an intimidate in the air.
No, it doesn't matter. He.
Oh, 10.
Yeah, she's pretty easy to intimidate. I mean,
She's a slave.
She
so-
basically is like, look, you know what? Go, whatever. Fucking somebody will catch you, I'm sure.
Military guard bonuses are so awesome.
Let's see go. So, okay, so Cadius is there, Stanting is there. Estrella, did you roll stealth?
No, not yet. I was just waiting for
Do that.
us to go. Okay.
You know, I'm chasing after Estrella.
No.
Wait
God,
for me!
Clump. Wait for me, my darling.
Let me just make sure it is a +9.
I cannot find my darling. I think she was
No, that's okay.
Bluff it.
That's
do
why
it.
I have diplomacy and bluff just in
Yeah,
case.
You know, because Jean is like clamoring after you, you basically don't really get much stuff because you're like sliding along sort of the intersection of like a couple of corridors, and you just hear like Estrella, like you know, like, around the corner, and you know, people like peeking around to look see like who's there, and it's like, you two shouldn't be back here, you know, sort of. This guy looks like he's more of like sort of a maitre d type guy, you know, like sort of.
Raven, your headset's messing up.
Yeah. And he says, "You two shouldn't be back here. You please make your way back to the banquet hall immediately."
Oh, I apologize. I cannot find my friend in the main banquet hall, and I heard that he might have slipped down here, so I've been looking for him.
Roll bluff.
Yeah, roll bluff. Okay, will my charming trait come into play?
Charming is
Just +1. Hold on,
If they find her sexually attractive.
+2.
Exactly.
Sure. Why not?
Okay, sweet. I'm just making sure. I'll take whatever pluses I
Hey,
can get.
Estrella's like decked out in some nice ass clothing right now.
I didn't
It
play
only-
that.
Literally.
I probably could.
No, my rolls.
That's
okay.
that's kind of okay. The DCs are not high for this. These guys
Fair
are
enough,
not
we're
paid.
level
These
2.
guys are not paid enough.
These guys are not paid.
Slave.
So he says, I don't think anybody's down here. I could help you look if you like, and you know, sort of. None of the guests should be back here, but I mean, it's possible, I suppose. And he sort of like goes off to sort of converse with somebody and send them to go check something and whatever. And you guys could kind of just like slip away at that, like.
Yeah, I slip away.
Yeah.
Like, just grab him and just...
Okay.
I mean,
so-
I'll follow them. My
Wolf-
stealth isn't good, but I'll do it.
Okay.
The raven is loud.
Raven, you're really
The raven is loud.
Hearth the
My
Raven.
everything just crashed. What just happened?
You guys got through. No worries.
Yeah, you got through. Don't worry. You'll
So, Cody, what are you doing?
I was gonna be following them stealthily
Okay.
because stealthily. I'm not really that good at stealth, but I mean, apparently I'm good at stealth.
Damn it.
The stealth DC
Wow,
was
dude,
25.
As you're headed through the hallway, you don't run into anybody, so.
Yeah, that's good enough.
You don't run into anybody.
Raven, are you back? Or?
I gotta reload Chrome.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he doesn't have the.
So, Wolf, you said you're staying in the
Yep,
banquet
Wolf
hall?
comes over and goes, "Sorry, my dear. I promised Stancing I would eat with them for a little bit, but I'm back because
Wolf's just like
I enjoyed your company."
hitting it off with the guard sergeant, and she smiles.
Actually, I'm more making myself. Before we came here, I took a couple of spells for a quick getaway. So I'm more of the if shit goes to shit.
Yeah,
Expeditious retreat. Run like hell.
she smiles and sort of keeps eating and small talks with you, Phoenix. As she has been talking about how she ended up in the military sort of and her training and so on. They look for people when they're really young. If they've got like true natural arcane talent, they want them in the military. I've been in training for this kind of thing since I was 12. And it's a fulfilling job, but it's all I've ever really known in my adult life. So on, blah blah blah, that kind of talk.
Yeah, I just sympathizes with her and whatever.
Yeah.
Because he's been a wolf for most of his life, and
He's been something he hasn't
She'll
wanted to be for
understand.
most of his life too. So.
Okay. So you guys make your way to the garden.
Of course, I don't tell her I was a wolf.
I picked the worst time to crash because I had a thing for that everything.
Dang.
Sadly,
I actually had a backup plan too. I'm surprised.
So as we're walking,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give Estrella a knife.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Just
Oh,
like kind of like
See
you
what he
look
did.
I
sneaky
see
and
what you did
pokey.
there. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's a knife, and then I'm gonna go look at Jean and be like, I know you don't usually use this, but here's a knife.
I'm just gonna look at this pitiful small weapon and just shake my head no.
Just sleight
Okay.
of hand.
I'll put my
Oh
head.
my
down.
God.
Yeah,
I
I'll
give
take it.
Rowlick. Hell, weapon better no weapon.
Okay, so you make your way to the garden, and this place is nice. This is like a verdant, sort of green courtyard, with like trees and bushes and flower beds and so forth, and so on. So there you go. I mean, as you enter, you can see that there are a couple of what look like sentries or guards off to the left. They definitely look official, sort of watching the gardener as he goes about like between the trees and so forth. This guy over here is the gardener. Goes about between the trees. He is an incredibly slight elven fellow. Like he's small and thin and just generally, sort of willowy. And moves with the care and grace of somebody who's like used to dealing with fragile elements, So there you go.
All right. First thing, I sleight of hand hide the knife. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hand it to Estrella to do it because I'm no good with hiding things, except
yeah, I'm
getting out in the
slightly
courtyard.
here. You need to put it like right here and
Yeah.
make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, since these things are magical, we've been told, I'm gonna be like constantly using detect magic to figure out if they're the plants we want.
Okay.
I don't know.
You don't detect any particular magics from the plants that are like there. You do, however, when you draw closer, because I think you're too far away for detect magic right now.
Yeah,
as
60
you-
feet
60
detect
feet.
magic.
As you draw closer to the gardener, you can tell that there are things that he has on him that are magic. In pouches and various things that he's wearing that are clearly magic.
Okay, getting there. Are these guards gonna stop us? I have no idea. We're too many. We must go one at a time.
One of the reasons why I didn't come.
I guess I will walk over to him.
Okay. The guards don't seem to stop you or anything. They just they're there seemingly to watch the gardener more than anybody else.
Seeing that they don't
I'll
stop,
just take a look.
I will accompany Cadius.
Okay.
seeing that they don't stop them, I'm just going to follow after.
All right.
Keep your
I'm gonna
distance,
wander the
Professor.
garden, but stay nearby.
One by
like,
one,
in
we pop
earshot.
out of bushes.
You just
It's nobody's business. Just whoop,
you're just checking out the garden.
fuck clown car.
I am looking
Yeah.
for a flower.
There are plenty of incredibly pretty flowers that are blooming all about the place. As you
Nice.
guys approach the gardener, he looks up at you, Cadius, as you
I'm taking careful steps not to step on anything
Yeah.
pretty and
yeah,
beautiful.
and you know he notices that as well. And he looks up and he says, "Oh, I didn't know I was going to have company today."
No worry. We are just here to admire the flowers, I guess.
Oh, well,
You
you're
know, it's such a
welcome-
beautiful garden. We wanted to know who tended it, and it's apparently you.
You're welcome to admire as long as you like, but look and do not touch, please. You know,
Of course.
He continues a very sort of a gentle voice. Clearly he's a slave. I mean, the collar around his neck denotes this, like, it's sort of a metal, like a welded collar, though it's in rather ostentatious materials for a slave. You know, it's not sort of like your typical iron welded collar. It's like, it looks like it may be sort of silver or gold, something valuable, sort of, or at least painted in that manner.
All right. So how do you grow these plants? It's such an outstanding, like, they just look amazing. How do you do it?
It's all in careful care and loving attention. You know, he continues sort of gesturing across one of the trees, and you can almost see sort of like the magical, like, healing energy from his hand sort of going across the and branching towards the tree trunk. And he says, he continues, this garden is the pride of all gardens within the city.
I can tell. There's also a little something else you're putting in there, isn't there? You know, kind of with a smile and a nudge, but not really
Yeah.
nudging him because
Well.
I'm not close enough.
Are you a Nazi? No, it's about as subtle as that.
Well,
Are you a Nazi?
nature can always use a little helping along.
And these flowers and these beautiful flowers, like, is it possible for us to, like, attain these? Like, I know we can't touch these ones, but to grow them ourselves, is that possible? Is that a possibility for let's say myself, being on a tier much lower, but still access to sunlight?
To grow your own would not be so complicated. My master acquired some very rare materials that have moved towards the growth of everything else within his garden. And he sort of, like, lifts one of the pouches off of his, like, belt loop and, like, hefts it in front of you and, like, opens it and sort of shows you the contents, and there's, like, some like, it looks like sand, actually, sort of just
Okay.
regular sand in there, and he you know, ties it back up and puts it.
Would
What's
you
it
be willing?
Oh my
to-
God, Jean!
He's looking for a blue flower.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
You ever
Well,
see Aladdin?
Thankfully,
I just hope he's behind a tree.
You ever see Aladdin and when the monkey takes the jewel? You just did that.
Yeah, basically.
Oh God.
thankfully, the gardener isn't watching you.
God.
He's talking with those in front of him, and he says, "There's a lone tree well, actually quite nearby, that grows, despite any natural means of doing so, within the desert. You know? This is the sand from around its base. It will make any natural thing, such as these trees, these flowers, this grass, grow with wild abandon." You know, he's just talking about it as if, well, of course, you know, it's like magic sand.
It's magic sand, totally easy.
My son helped me make it.
Would you be willing to possibly? maybe sell us some or give us some. It's quite a wonderful item. May as well plant it around the entire city.
It is not mine to give you or to sell to you. It belongs to the master, of course. Though if you were to bargain with him, perhaps I could part with some. Though, if you have the means, you may be able to acquire some for yourself from where we did.
Too much of a hassle, you see. It's quite the trek and like very much of a expedition. Even though it's nearby, we have to get out there, and it's sandy and it's sunny and it's hot. And look at these clothes. Do I want to get these dirty?
Caddies is great.
Yeah.
The gardener smiles and says, "For great reward, there is always great effort."
This is true, but I am a man of little effort. But by your sword. Now, what do you say? You maybe put some on the ground, forget about it, and I see it and pick it up, and maybe put something else on the ground, and you find that?
The gardener, like, he hesitates for a moment and, like, looks sidelong a little bit at the two guards who are standing nearby, while you guys are conversing, and says, "As I said, the item does not belong to me. I cannot give it to you freely. I would be happy to tell you where we came upon it, but I will not give it to you."
Actually, that information would be quite useful. Here. And I don't know how to write it. Explain it to me. Where is this? Where is this tree? This wondrous tree and its sand.
Do you happen to have a map?
Not on
Relic
me.
speaks up on that. I have one on me, and he pulls it out of
As
his
does
bag.
as does Stanton. He happens to have a map as well.
Maps of the world. This is like maps of the world,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I have that
And
because he
updated,
maps the cities himself.
actually fairly close by to where Harn is, like currently through the moving.
Something
Well, he-
you bastards who aren't on the
he-
lower tier would have.
Relic, Relic is like he's a mapper, so he keeps
Yeah.
track of this stuff.
But
so
anyway, close to where Harn is right now, the gardener sort of like points at like a section on the grid, sort of the grid marking of the map, and says, "Somewhere close there is where we found it."
Somewhere close is quite a definition on a world map, you see.
Well, I can't say exactly. I was not keeping track precisely. The minister would have a better idea exactly of where. However, I don't believe he would be so free with the information.
I would agree.
nobody ever is. Relic will like mark the location on the map and
So
put it back in
I'll
his
look.
bag.
I'll kind of talk to Relic more so than everybody else, kind of hoping that the other guy doesn't hear, but not like making it obvious that I don't want him to hear. Do you think that this information would be more valuable than the actual sand itself?
A substance is usually more valuable than an idea of where it could be.
But the idea of where it could be an infinite source of a certain substance, depending
Why would he?
on.
That's a good idea, but why would somebody this high up in the tiers only take a little bit for himself?
This is true.
Relic's still like
that's the question, isn't it?
Relic is like not focusing too much. He's still entranced by plants because he hasn't seen flowers.
Yeah.
I'm
This
trying to
is-
play
this
it off as
isn't-
if this is totally normal.
This also just like isn't a garden. This is like the best garden in
Yeah.
the city. Like
Yeah.
by leaps and bounds. Even the royal
So-
palace ain't got nothing on this. Sort of like
Oh my god.
My good gardener, you must have more sand. Correct? This is quite the garden. I do not suppose one tiny bag would be the entirety of this garden.
Of course not. Though we use it sparingly.
Well, of course, it is probably miraculous effects. Look at this garden. It's amazing.
Standing is gonna kind of like grab Relic and kind of lead him more over here out of earshot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lad, you seem quite adept with a map, but he didn't appear to have much on him, which means they must make frequent trips. If we know the general location, should be easy enough to track them, find out
I'm
where
more
this
worried
place
about
is.
them making general trips in the first place. If this sand is around this entire tree, wouldn't they just take more of it, or at least take so much that taking any more would harm the tree?
Well, that is for us to find out.
I'm wondering if they have it in a storeroom somewhere. I mean, he's just got a little pouch. They got a whole garden here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I have an idea for one thing, but let's try this. Relic will walk back over to the guy, the elf who's tending the gardens. We can probably head out relatively quickly to see for some of the sand ourselves, but would you be able to spare us a pouch of seeds that we could try it on?
The seeds are mundane. They're of no magical property whatsoever. These are the kind of thing that you can acquire on your own.
Fair enough.
I believe he means to say seeds with a little bit of the sand mixed in, as in like a test, like to see if this is actually. I don't not believe you.
The
It's just
gardener,
magical
the
sound.
gardener sort of smiles and says, I am not a vendor of this sand. I do not need to show you a test. This garden is a tribute to my skill and to the tools that I have been given. Anything further is uninteresting to me.
He's
Sean.
told you.
God, I am just.
I know.
What?
You best hope he don't fucking see you.
Oh, that,
John just
yeah.
pulling out flowers.
I was wondering why
Right.
Elf just hulked
There
out
is a
and I
tree
read
there.
the chat.
And he's 100
There's
feet
kind
away.
of a tree.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
and-
mean, he's in no way in like vision of the gardener at the moment.
But once he does come in vision, the gardener will be like, "Bitch, those my flowers. You gonna fucking get a bitch slap."
Yeah, so I'm sure we could
Pimp slap.
acquire the seeds on our own, but it's nice to have some on hand to try at the sand when we get there. Just a thought.
It's not like the sand makes it instantaneously grow.
You're not
never
here.
s-
Shut up, Druid.
We don't, okay? We don't.
Relic has never seen plants before.
Anyway, Cadius, I think, was.
What is going on?
I don't know.
He's given you the information as to where the tree is.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like
I
he's
am
gonna
just
give out
deciding.
anything else like
No.
freely. Clearly, he's preoccupied with what he's doing as well. Like, he's very slow and deliberate in his speech and also in his movement, and sort of gentle and flowing about what he's the magic he's channeling and the
Because the
things
freaking
he's
guards.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're not going to be able to get anything out, any of the sand, but maybe
I can't
pack
do
of-
anything else.
Maybe a pack of
I am
roses
Druid
or something else
bastard.
that we could grow when we find it for ourselves. Save us at least a little bit of trouble.
And hell, if we actually find the tree, we can get more and more sand and sell it off.
Wolf, you're not here.
I'm not here, no, but I'm just saying.
I'll go talk to the straight up.
Okay.
Oh, Cadius.
I assume Standing has told you. Do you think this is quality information versus the actual product?
I think
dear
we need.
Captain?
I think we need more, but telling her is definitely a good start. As if this location proves true, then we have a lot more than what this can provide.
This is true.
All right, I'm gonna look at the map.
Now,
Stand.
The only thing to determine is Elf, how accurate is that general area? Like within a.
I mean, it's like fairly
like
accurate.
100 meters or within like
well,
a
not,
10
not,
kilometers.
Not within
or-
100 meters, that's for sure.
I'd probably
But
say
it's-
about 5 kilometers.
It's like
If we're in the
500
air,
with-
you can
Yeah.
find a tree.
Yeah, if,
Like-
you're,
Yeah.
if
If
you're
you're
in the
in
area,
the
you'd be able to
desert,
find a tree.
You can find a tree.
Especially a magical tree, which is probably pretty big. Hopefully,
Eh,
not like a twig tree.
probably
It is a tree.
probably
It is a
big.
tree that has no earthly business growing where it's growing.
All
I
right.
mean,
Something
that
diabetic
tree is
must-
obviously pretty big because it has the sand that's growing this garden around it. So it's continuously growing from that sand.
Or it's
Yep.
creating the sand.
All right, I'm gonna hold my hand out for the map, because I'm gonna see if I can get this to the captain, just to show her. Not.
Well, I mean, was I able to get like a package of seeds or some sort? No, this guy.
No.
No, he's not gonna give
No.
you shit all. I mean,
Okay.
he's,
I was
He's not
talking
giving you
about
anything.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
I will get
he
our
doesn't
big
care.
bulky friend and go to the captain and
Rallic
tell
will
her what
just-
you've learned.
Okay. So are you
Good.
sneaking out ahead of these guys and then coming back, or what?
I'm gonna grab Jean
Okay.
and sneak him out of there because I came in with him. So if the same people see me, I can pop out just fine. But
True,
Yeah.
and you notice he's acquired blue flowers.
I have them stuffed into my shirt.
Do I see the holes? from where
There
these
are blue
were torn
flowers
out of?
What's
sticking
there?
out of your shirt.
Yeah, I can't hide it from a 19.
There are blue flowers sticking out of your shirt.
I glare at him. I glare daggers at him.
Can I see the holes where he's ripped flowers out of the ground? Like just walking back.
I mean,
Well,
it was only like a
it's-
flower.
Yeah, it's not like super noticeable.
Yeah,
to
but
you.
I mean, there's
I didn't rip up the tree.
Seeing as this is like the first time you're even
Flowers.
seeing this kind of thing, like
Yeah.
if what you said before is correct,
Yeah,
like you
it
would have
doesn't
no
seem like
idea.
flowers, but yeah, I
I'm
assume
gonna
it's not very
pretend
gentle
that
flowers.
they're like hidden carefully and just be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?"
Is it still daytime?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm
It's like
gonna take
it's
a
like
moment.
it's like almost sunset. You know what I mean?
All right.
I will
should
take a
Guys.
moment and lie down.
You guys figure out,
Yes.
find whatever it is we need.
Yeah. We're gonna
And
be
look
heading
up.
out soon.
At the
Yeah.
sun.
Phrasing intensifies.
Yep.
Relic is
Intensified.
going to ask the gardener if he may climb one of the trees.
No.
I'm gonna
That's
head
why he's
back to-
asking first.
The gardener
gonna
shakes his head at you and says, "As I said, look but do not touch."
As I thought, just I always liked high places. Oh well. And he'll just go back to looking around at plants because
So
plants.
you're trying to sneak it out, Estrella, or
I'm-
Stanting just like left.
Not-
Stanting
not
first.
so
I'm gonna grab
sneaky.
Stanting after.
So
Okay.
Stanting's just gonna be like ba ba da.
A
Stanton
lovely
don't
bit
give a
of fresh
fuck.
air. Lovely flowers in this garden.
As you're walking
Great
back through
love myself.
the passageways, you don't run into anybody like moving back and forth, so you don't need to make any skill checks. You kind of just wander through and
He's just
end up-
mumbling to himself the
Yeah.
whole way. Such a pretty garden. I've
Yeah.
got quite a green thumb myself. Maybe
end
one
up
day I'll
back
have
at
one like
the.
this.
I'm assuming you're all leaving, right? Like
Yeah,
you're
I'm gonna
leaving-
grab Jean and Cadius, and then we're gonna leave as
I
like a
am
trio.
resisting your grab, and I am going to sit here
Cadius.
just until the sun sets. This
Fine.
is
Relic.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'll walk out with
Well,
straight
he
up.
doesn't see sun
Like he's
that
never
often.
seen the
He
sun
loves-
before.
Okay, so you guys are
I don't
leaving.
think he's been on a boat.
I was gonna
Alright.
stop and see Tanya.
Like I'm giving
Yeah.
like my.
Oh no, I just
my-
meant leaving this garden.
Oh,
not leaving-
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're just in the garden and going to the main
Uh,
hall.
So, as you're sort of lying there during the sunset, Cadius, everybody else, I'm just gonna say has you just move yourself off the map.
Yeah, we fucked off.
Yeah. I made sure not to crush any.
No,
precious
of course,
flowers.
of course.
Okay.
The gardener hasn't, he hasn't really care that you're there or so forth. But as he's looking around, he notices the spot where things have been removed, and you hear like the most. It can only be described as like an anguished gasp, like he is like it sounds like he is physically injured by the removal of these flowers from his garden. Like not really like angry, like not like, oh my god, I'm gonna blow shit up with magical powers, but he sounds like really upset, and clearly
Yeah.
he's not gonna be keeping any secrets about who was wandering through the fucking garden,
I never talked to him either. So.
No. Yeah, so there's that. And Cadius, hearing that, you may want to fuck off or, because as he makes that sort of like, sort of like what, sort of sound. One of the guards like hurries over to him, like to be like, what is it? What's wrong? Sort of stuff. Caddy's is like,
Damn it.
later.
Peace.
So yeah, not great. By the way, his name was Ianto. Nobody asked, but his name was
Nobody
Ianto.
asked.
I was out listening because
Did
they
you,
were
did
talking.
you ask Caddius?
Nope. Nobody asked.
Nobody
Did
did.
not ask his name.
His name.
I am supposed to be a noble. I'm supposed to not care about slaves.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
His name was Ianto. Although the gardener is a perfect title.
He is the gardener,
He's the gardener of Eden.
basically.
And
Pretty
this
much.
time, pretty much.
So you make your way to the banquet hall, back through the passageways, and you're here. So anything you want to do before nicking off, you can do.
I'm gonna go see Tom.
Rallick is going to think back to when they were leaving, and he's going to look at Tanya and see if she's still covered in wine.
Tanya has had somebody cast, some
Yeah.
sort of cleaning,
Yeah.
small cleaning spell, prestidigitation or something like that.
Yeah, that would
to clean herself up. She looks put out though. She's kind of annoyed. Clearly her mood has once again soured. Though as Jean approaches, she sort of raises her eyebrow, like, I thought you would be gone for a little longer than this.
I give her a smile.
Rallick,
I'm gonna be completely oblivious to that because I have no idea what their conversation was about.
Yeah.
And be like, I just had to run an errand. ... I
Of
see
course,
you've
run the air.
cleaned up since the incident earlier. How are you?
Oh. Alright, I suppose. She clearly doesn't like talking common. She like sort of limits her vocabulary.
She hates our wine. She hates our language.
Yeah, she's not a fan.
But she really likes.
Well, there are benefits to every race, and elves are not known for their endowment. Let's put it that way.
I'll talk Elfin whenever she wants. Like,
She's like, I'll do
I'm
it.
going to pull out one of the flowers. And,
Oh,
hand it to her.
All crunched up from his sweaty shirt. Ah!
Rallick was planning on getting
This
Wolf.
face right here is pretty much the face. Like,
Rallick was going to get Wolf, but like seeing that, he's going to walk quickly over here, grab Jean, and be like, I'm sorry, he's a little slow.
What? I
Because
thought
it's a crushed flower from your shirt that probably still has dirt on it.
I thought it would make her feel better.
Also, it's a beautiful
you-
flower from
Yeah,
only
it
one
was
spot.
the-
she
Best
says,
decision.
Yeah.
she says, did you pull this up from the garden? Like that is awful. That is like a huge problem.
I'm just gonna look confused, like,
I thought you were a savage, but clearly even more so than I imagined.
Rallick's going to like pull his arm and start pushing him
Exactly.
towards the door, like, get out of here.
I'm sorry, it seems unneeded. Goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.
He's just gonna Rallick's just gonna like, facepalm a little, just like having a headache now, just from, oh god, this is bad. He'd be like, I'm sorry he bothered you. I don't know what to say other than that. I'll be going now. Have a nice night.
I guess I'm just gonna nick off with Rallick.
Good night to you, she replies to Rallick. Of course, her assumption is that Rallick and Caddius are together, because that's what she heard. So...
I didn't say anything.
Well, that was the assumption that she
Right, that
made,
was the
and
assumption.
you didn't say anything else.
Oh
Exactly.
god, this is terrible.
It wouldn't be the first time Stray would have gotten Rallick into trouble, honestly. I'm gonna go with that.
He's used to it.
They share one man? What?
So, as you're moving to leave, the two guards who have been checking...
I'm not leaving yet.
Well, as
saying.
Jean is being pushed away from the table,
He's
I'll
telling
take first.
Rallick is telling Jean to get out of the building, and then he's walking over towards a stray.
well, as Jean moves to get out of the building, the two guards who are checking weapons, like, approach him.
Oh
like-
yeah. It was...
Like, weapons in hand, like, they saw what was going on, sort of thing.
So we give her
Um,
the flower.
Yeah.
I call it hacks.
Hacks! Hacks!
They they stop you and say, "Where did you get that?" You know,
I brought
knowing
it
the
with
only
me.
knowing the only answer, of course.
I brought it with me. I thought it would serve nicely to give some of the finer women present.
Not only are you a thief, you're a liar. One of the guards basically like attempts to club you on the head, like dirty savage, pulling flowers out of the garden, and like turns you around basically, and like marches you towards the minister's table.
Oh.
I'm moving you because I can.
Fair.
Standing is like back at the table with some of the military men, and they're like laughing and going, "You show that ruffian how to take him back to the minister."
So they like escort you, like twisting your arm behind your back, sort of like pushing you down, like over towards the minister's table, and the minister looks up as these things are happening. Luther looks up, and says, "A troublemaker? I wasn't expecting this at my high class party." Sort of feeling. The guard says, "We caught him with one of the flowers from the garden. The gardener was upset, just recently, and I'm sure that this is the man responsible." And the other guy like gets into your coat basically and pulls out the flowers that you've like pulled up, the blue flowers, and the minister's looking like sternly at Jean. And
Wobble a bit.
he stands up and he says, "Attempting to steal from me is a very serious offense. What do you have to say for yourself?"
Gonna wobble a bit and be like, I saw the pretty lady get spilled on and thought it might make her feel better.
So not only are you a criminal and a lawbreaker, you are an imbecile. He seems to consider what to do here, and he says, "Now, as I don't want to ruin my party with an execution,
Fall over, play dead.
we'll talk more in terms of the value of the things you've destroyed. Now, let's say you pay a fine to me. 20,000 gold."
I'm afraid, Minister, I don't have that much money on you. I can give you all I'm worth, but it would not be enough.
Well, I'm sure we can figure out a system of payment. Guards, and they sort of straighten you up a little bit, like dust you off, sort of. "A new addition to the slaves' quarters. You'll be working for me from now on."
I guess that's better than an execution.
Yeah, and if anybody else wants to do anything, you're welcome to do so. It's going down.
I just wanted to have a nice little conversation with wizards.
We should probably get him out of here, guys.
Yeah.
Hang on for it.
I walk
Alright,
over and stand to observe.
okay. All the while, oh hello, person on screen. All the while, that this was going on, I had went to the wizard's table, and
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi. As I came up to it, I used Mage Hand to like pour a man a drink while I was sitting down, just showing him that I
Okay,
do know a little bit
yeah.
of wizardry. I was like, "Oh, your drink is a little empty, sir."
Rylan's like,
Pour a little
"Oh,
something.
that's very impressive," but like everybody seems to be watching the shit that's going down, like over by the
Yeah,
minister's
but I mean,
table,
this is a little before. This is like him giving flower
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing
yeah.
going on, right? So this is a little before, I'll sit down with him, have a little small talk, interject with his conversation. I believe this man's studies are actually a little bit better than his, and be against him a little bit and shit. And as he's being brought away, up there, obviously huge commotion.
Yeah.
I'm going to try. Seeing what's happening, I'll go over to the wizard man and be like, "Do you think they allow slaves to be tested by magic?"
Well, to test it how?
Well, you know what I mean. Come on, we don't have as many test subjects as we used to in the good old days, but
well,
if he's becoming a slave, wouldn't it be nice for such a strong man with high endurance to be a subject of possible tests?
well, young man, I think if he is your property, of course, then you may do as you choose with him.
Well, currently, I believe that your institution is generating a little bit of the monetary value for the country, right? The city, and possible test subjects might, in fact, increase this value, especially a man of such high endurance. You could push him to his limits, and as such, it might even possibly give him a bit of money. It's a fresh slave. We don't know if he's going to take him for how he is.
We could check with the minister, see how much he's willing to accept to purchase the individual. But no promises. I mean, it's.
I would think not quite a purchase, more a borrowing almost, as like pay him a little and pay over time or something. I feel like this man has committed quite the felony, of course.
Wow.
It's nothing short of injustice, robbery.
The thing, you don't. It's just that if I borrow someone like this, you never know in what condition you'll be returning them.
This is true.
Through
this
testing
is true.
of magic, and
Of course.
I wouldn't want to have to pay exorbitant reparational costs. I only experiment upon my own goods.
Of course. I kind of sit back and I'm just like, God damn.
Oh, okay.
I'll see what I can do here.
Yes, I just want to see what other people's things are that they're doing.
Mine's a last resort, so you guys better have a
What
good
is
one.
yours
Okay.
Start
Mine was
shooting?
really just kind of like a
Mine is
Try and get
Obscuring
him away
Mist
from me.
and then Entangle.
Oh no!
No.
Don't do
Pick you
that.
first, and then I'll go.
I'm going to approach, kind of keeping my distance, like kind of coming around the guards, but kind of keeping a distance, having heard this commotion going on. Good minister. It's pleasant to see you are dealing with such rabble as they come through here. But did I overhear you say you would make him a slave? Would that be the wisest decision? If he's stolen from you once, would he not do so again?
A man such as this does not belong in my household. I will sell him off at the earliest convenience.
Well, he's quite a scoundrel. If reputation were to get out that he would steal from the likes of you, that he would surely steal from the likes of anybody. They would quite devalue him. I think a more appropriate punishment would be something like we had in my junior days in the army. A good thrashing, I think, with a good cane would straighten this heathen out.
You expect me to punish him with mere physical torment when he has withdrawn priceless items from my garden? No. He will pay as I've seen fit. If you'd like to purchase him, 20,000 gold will buy his freedom.
He would not be worth that. Not a stealing Neanderthal like him. I mean, nothing. not worth that much pennies. I doubt he's even worth the clothes he's wearing.
You guys are fucking calling me out on my shit.
That was my plan. That was my
Damn it!
All right. So, sorry, pig.
As I said, he's probably not worth the clothes he's wearing.
Oh, he seems strong enough. And stupid enough. Manual labor. Worth enough to the right buyer, I'm sure. And he sort of like dismisses your, attempt to dissuade his punishment, And
I'm gonna flex in the of how strong I am.
Even in this situation. Well, as you flex, the guards take it as you're trying to escape, and one of them smacks you across the back of the head again.
Oh god.
Stray, any ideas?
Okay, so as this is all happening, and I am just mentally killing Jean, I walk up a not so amused face, and I just rest a hand on Tanya's shoulder and say in Elven, I will deal with him later, but if you would offer some assistance getting him out of this mess, then I'm sure we could work out a sort of deal involving him.
Tanya raises her eyebrow at that, sort of curious, it's piqued her interest a little. She goes, if I am to purchase him, then I would be sole owner. Depending how much you'd like to throw in, of course, I would gladly lend him to you.
After this, I am sure my interests have faded, so to speak.
And I don't want to throw away so much gold for nothing. You can vouch for his prowess?
More or less. Yes. Yes, I can. Not his mental prowess by any means, but
I wouldn't buy him for his brain.
understandable.
She smiles and says, is he worth the money I would pay?
Yes, he'd better be. And I just glare.
She sort of goes, I'm not inspired. Elaborate.
I believe you would get your gold's worth if you used him correctly.
And I suppose if he did not please me, I could grind him up into pieces required for certain brews and alchemical components.
Of course.
she Yes, Yin's suggestion.
Yeah.
Of all things. Yes!
She smiles and says, well, then I suppose I have purchased myself a new plaything. And she stands sort of smiling at Estrella and says, of course, all this is in Elven because she quite enjoys her secret conversations with Estrella.
Of course, Ralik is sitting right here just listening because he doesn't have any input. He doesn't have any input.
Yeah.
He's just laughing to himself.
And says, oh man, what was I gonna say? Damn it, I had something really good. Now I don't remember it. Hang on,
Sorry.
hang on. It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah.
It'll come back. She stands in Elven to Estrella. Says, I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say. It was super good, and now I can't remember it.
I'm just gonna say I hope he can recall
Oh,
what
I remember.
taught him.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
what you taught him. Yes, of course. And I will be teaching him proper manners with discipline reinforcement. And she
Relic will not be able to contain. Relic will be unable to contain his laughter at that one.
she you know makes her way over to the magister's table and offers the money to pay for Jean. And there you go. She's gonna buy you. You now belong to Tanya, of all people.
I got this.
all I understand by giving him manners is he's gonna get a collar and a leash and going to be a dog
Woof.
for the rest of his days.
I'm sure you guys will be able to try and buy him out or like get his freedom back or whatever. This is
Eventually, yes, but
No.
not now.
I have no want
I
to
ain't
help
paying
John
shit
out
for him.
whatsoever. John was rude to Wolf in wolf form. Why would he care about John now?
For a dog.
So yeah, that's how the party
Fucking god.
goes. Oh man.
Time to leave.
So, I'm pretty sure it's not really fun for
That was
anybody.
not how I thought this would end, but it was the only way I could see you surviving.
Hello, my dear.
She takes
Retreat.
everything. You know, Tanya takes everything in stride and directs the guards to sort of let go of you, and she you know says to you, Jean, I am now your master. You know, I now own you.
Oh, and she's French. God damn, they are
This-
dirty.
This is the only way you would have survived this encounter. Now, you will be polite and charming for the rest of the evening, and then, after the party has finished, we will get you fitted properly with the correct accoutrements. Accoutrement. Et we will get you acquainted with your new position.
With several positions.
So there you go. There you have it.
Raven can't even deal. Oh, I'm gonna go over back to
Yeah.
my perfectly legitimate table and just laugh with them.
Nira
Wolf's
and
having
Jenna,
fun
like,
with this
hearing the
chick.
news, are laughing their asses off. Like,
I can't even hold it in anymore, and I'm just
I
Nero-
assume that they
Nero
speak
was-
Aran, by the way.
Nira was, like, ready to do it herself if she had to buy him and then, like, hold him at exorbitant prices to, like, do whatever it was that she needed. But, that just works out so much better.
This is so fantastic.
Yeah, you think it's fantastic now, but you don't know Tanya.
Uh,
Again,
I
she's
feel
not-
like I may, in fact, know Tanya.
I assume that
I feel like this is a bad idea, and we should help him escape. But I can't say anything.
yeah.
I was gonna make him a
Estrella
test
will be
subject.
knowing Tanya eventually.
Okay, so I pull out a map. The map. I
That.
think Stanting.
Uh,
You...
I'll
Gave me
I'll
the map?
map you if you don't. have
No,
one.
I'm holding on to this.
Yeah,
map.
he's keeping
Okay,
the map.
cool. Then I look
My
through
bad.
Relic.
Hand it to you.
Hand it over to, or just show
Well,
Nira.
I mean, I'd show them the area, but I don't want to like look
I'm
at a
gonna
map
assume you guys have like told her about the sand and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
about
that's
to.
what
Yeah.
we're
Move through that
in like
a little
Lauren
bit.
or Elven or whatever like
Um,
people around here don't speak.
Just because we're coming close to time, so
Yeah.
we'll
We're
just,
we're
like,
filling her in.
move the plot.
Yeah, but like I'm
Uh,
only gonna show her the map briefly and put it away. 'cause,
She
I mean,
she smiles and says, "Well, if we can find the source of this material, then I'm sure we can delve up more than we would be getting if we simply stole from the gardener, and it doesn't seem like stealing from the gardener is quite such a good idea. She like points over at Jean, who's currently getting dressed down basically by Tanya, and who's like straightening up his various, pieces of clothing, and like, this is unacceptable, blah blah blah, sort of like, if you're gonna represent me, you're gonna look a lot better than this, and so on. And we'll be getting you a tattoo soon enough. I think that would go well with the rest of your look, as well as if we shaved like the side of your head, more barbarian style sort of approach to
More
this.
stuff.
You belong to her. She can do whatever she wants with you.
True, very true. You're like a Ken doll.
And there you go.
Very macho again,
So
though.
this all ends, and the evening ends sort of, with no further incident. The Magister, happy to have made the money that he made tonight, even with the discussion of the garden. He does disappear for a few minutes, at some point in the evening, clearly to, converse with the gardener or something. Like
We need to leave.
Keep him from his heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you, really. I mean, I don't know how I can follow that up, so that's...
That's okay. We were gonna leave.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
converse with Tanya a little bit as she's straightening me up.
Mhm.
I am so happy that you have rescued me from the idea of execution, and believe me, I am well worth the money.
She smiles at that and says, in reply, "You had better be, darling, or you will not be lasting very long. I have several friends who will more than likely pay handsomely for your pieces."
Oh.
Roll a d20 to see how good you are in bed.
There's some rolls, and you,
Staya has her fingers crossed right now. Like, don't mess
Acrobatics.
up.
Acrobatics.
She muses out loud things like, "Perhaps I have friends I could rent you out to."
the more the merrier.
You say that now. Anyway.
These friends are actually driders, just.
Not the spider bitch.
So through the rest of the night, I will be, or have been, talking to these wizards and whatnot.
Yeah,
That is my
you're just talking with the wizards.
talking with the wizards, learning of their things. Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh god.
I said it.
No.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
Yeah, so you're chatting with the wizards, and the wizards are happy to have, like, a young gentleman like yourself interested in magic and so forth. And you go, "You should," Rylan says, "Oh, you should come and visit us at the Mage's Tower, 15th tier. I'll, he, like, digs around, like, on his person and sort of withdraws, like, a token, basically, that looks like a small, coin, with, like, markings around the edges, sort of runic markings, and he hands it to you, and he says, "Give that to the lift attendant, and he will allow you to come and visit us as you please."
That sounds splendid, sir. I will definitely come visit you. Well, not necessarily you, because you probably have some kind of glorious righteous experimentations and knowledge and things to do. But
There is
I will.
always time for those who appreciate our research.
I will definitely come by then. I'll continue small talk until we need to.
Little do people know it is our righteous art that keeps the cities moving. So
Exactly,
so on and so
exactly.
forth,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, anybody got anything else they want to do before we leave?
No.
Last chance.
This-
nothing important. Just spending time with, oh, that's not ruler. These three. Or, these two, but sure,
Wolf's
Frolic
just
can come
making
along.
this chick
Wow,
comfortable while
rude.
she's here, being uncomfortable.
All right, so party ends, everybody leaves, everything's happy and so forth.
big.
The the
I'm a +7 in my ride, Jack. It's
anyway,
cool.
anyway, the stop it. The
We'll joke later. Hold on.
Yeah, let me finish first. You guys make your way back down to the the proper tier, where Nira sort of takes her leave of you guys and says, "We'll be checking the details of this map, and maybe if the Crow's Feather can make the flight safely, we'll be headed there to get some of this material. I'll of course be looking to bring you along, seeing as you've been involved in this so far. If it's something that's renewable and we can take as much of it as we want, we are all going to be very, very wealthy."
Well, that is a very comforting thought, and I'm glad we could also get some entertainment out of the evening
And
as
of
well.
course, John, you're not here. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean's not-
Yeah.
Nope, I'm with my new friend.
So Australia, you
Not
willing to
so
buy
much
John back
friend.
when you get money?
Well, you know.
I like buying things for myself, and I don't have the money.
I like buying things for myself. That wouldn't be for me. That would be for
No.
him. And I
Okay,
don't want that.
So I'm gonna call that end of session.
Yeah.
For this particular one, unless anybody has anything else they want to do, like closing up.
Nope.
I'm gonna call that the end of today's session.
Like I said, Wolf's just.
Oh
talking to
my
I'm
god.
just using the best of my ability, but that's it.
Okay.
So, she's a diplomat, right? Does she live in Harn or does she live elsewhere?
And she lives
She's the
here.
wine lady.